Damn it. Cheongchi, you ugly freak. Look at your cowardly appearance. You don't look like a tiger nor a dragon. You're just a fool. How can you be called a fierce beast when you're cowardly after saving you? I think you're just a fool. Yoon Chujo cursed while holding a stack of super-grade explosive talismans in her hand. Qin Mingzhu stood at the side and sneered. Yoon Chujo was really courting death. Cheongchi hated her to death. Yet she still dared to scold Cheongchi. Cheongchi would definitely kill her before giving up. Everyone had the same thoughts as Qin Mingzhu. Had Yoon Chujo been provoked to the point of going crazy? It was already scary enough that Cheongchi was not angry, yet you still provoked it. Wasn't this courting death? No one expected that Cheongchi actually stopped attacking. Its huge eyes looked at Yoon Chujo. Little ant, what do you want to say to me? Everyone was dumbfounded. Was this Cheongchi sick? Just now when Yoon Chujo was talking to it, it ignored Yoon Chujo and attacked Yoon Chujo instead. Yoon Chujo blew it up and scolded it again. Instead, it wanted to listen to Yoon Chujo's words. Could it be that it liked to be abused? Yoon Chujo was not too surprised. It seemed that what was recorded in the ancient books was right. This Cheongchi liked evildoers. I have to cater to its interests. What do I want to say? I want to say that you are a brainless idiot. Your huge stature is simply wasted. Since you are a fierce beast, you should have the appearance of a fierce beast. What is the use of killing so many people? Can this reflect your identity as a fierce beast? You are a retard. You are a retard. Yoon Chujo scolded fiercely. Cheongchi was stunned by the scolding. His huge eyeballs rolled around. Little ant, isn't killing people considered fierce? Is there anything worse than this? You're really stupid. What's so great about killing a person? Do you see what I'm holding in my hand? These talismans are so light when it comes to killing people. You're an ancient beast, yet you have the same use as these talismans. Tell me, what's the point of you being alive? You're a waste. Yoon Chujia's small face was full of ridicule. In Shueching saw that Cheongchi's behavior was somewhat abnormal. He was afraid that it would be fooled by Yoon Chujo, so he shouted loudly, Sir Cheongchi, don't listen to that stupid girl's nonsense. Hurry up and kill her. Cheongchi was thinking about what Yoon Chujo said when he was interrupted by In Zucheng's shout. He directly slapped In Shueching to death with his claws. When In Qingba saw that his son was slapped to death, he was instantly enraged. Qin Yixiao, you actually allowed your soul beast to kill Shueching. I'll fight it out with you. Qin Yixiao's heart was like a dog that was bickering. Your son was killed by Cheongchi for no reason. Are you blaming me? Fortunately, In Qinghua was still clear-headed. He shouted, second brother. With a great enemy in front of us, we should consider the overall situation. In Qingba thought of the situation in front of him. Even if he went forward, he was still no match for Qin Yixiao. All he had to do was to grit his teeth and remain silent. Yoon Chujo was secretly happy. Damn, this Cheongchi was really awesome. Before anything happened, he had already helped me kill one. Moreover, he had even caused a rift between Qin Yixiao and the In family. This Cheongchi was really not bad. Cheongchi did not care about In Zucheng's death at all. It asked Yoon Chujo doubtfully, little ant, then tell me, what kind of thing is worthy of my identity as a fierce beast? Of course it is worthy of a world-shaking event. For example, you killed Tao Tai, Tao Wu and Hun Dun. You killed all three fierce beasts, so you are naturally the most powerful fierce beast. Yoon Chujo said with a smile. This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. Hearing Yoon Chujia's words, Cheongchi said impatiently, what you said is nonsense. Killing them is of course a big deal, but where can I find them? Besides, I'm already a remnant soul, how can I kill them? You're really stupid. Since I said so, I naturally know their whereabouts. Yoon Chujo said with her mouth curled. Cheongchi's eyes immediately widened. You know? Where are they? They're not dead? That shouldn't be. I remember they're all dead. Of course they're all dead, but they have remnant souls just like you. Yoon Chujo said in an idiotic tone. Cheongchi didn't care at all. Instead, it felt that such a tone was more cordial. It said with a slightly flattering tone, then tell me, where are they? Cheongchi, I say, do you really have no brain? Why should I tell you? Is there anything good in this world? Those who help others are all idiots. Chongqi felt that what she said was really right. That was only evil people should survive. Good people should die. This little girl really won my heart. Then how can you tell me their whereabouts? It's very simple. You have to do a big evil thing to make me satisfied. Yun Chujo said with a fake smile. The expression on her face was as sinister as it could be. Everyone was dumbfounded. Why did Yun Chujo suddenly look like a different person? Her expression was really too sinister and scary. Chongqi liked it very much. He could not wait to ask, what kind of evil thing can satisfy you? Yun Chujo raised her eyebrows and said two words indifferently. Killing the master. Killing the master? Chongqi was stunned. Then he laughed strangely. Little ant. You are really talented. Yes, killing the master is the most exciting thing to do. Everyone thought that there was something wrong with their ears, or else there was something wrong with Chongqi's brain. Too talented? Yun Chujo is trying to trick you into killing Qi Nixiao. You're just a soul beast. If Qi Nixiao dies, wouldn't you be finished? Are you stupid? Qi Nixiao immediately shouted, Chongqi. If I die, you will die too. Yun Chujo is trying to trick you. Why don't you kill her quickly? Qi Nixiao felt that if he had exposed Yun Chujio's trap, Chongqi would definitely kill Yun Chujo in anger. He did not expect that Chongqi would actually put on a fawning look. He said to Yun Chujo, little fairy, I Chongqi have lived for hundreds of thousands of years. This is the first time I have met such a sinister and cunning person like you. I really like you. Everyone almost fainted. Oh God, is it because we are inexperienced? Or is this Chongqi too strange? Is it sick? Not only is it not angry, it actually said that it likes Yun Chujo very much. Hundreds of divine beasts whizzed past Yun Chujio's heart. Damn, this Chongqi really rewards evil and punishes good to the extreme. I have to continue to deceive it. Pooey. Is a fool like you worthy of liking me? Hurry up and kill Qi Nixiao? Think about it, how could those three fierce beasts be as bad as you? They actually killed their own master. It's really too bad. Only then would they be worthy of your reputation as an ancient fierce beast. Chongqi raised its huge claws and scratched its head. It was obviously somewhat conflicted. Killing its master was naturally a big bad thing. However, after killing its master it would die. Would it do it or not? Yun Chujo blinked her eyes. She sneered and said, I say you're stupid. You're really stupid. If you were afraid of death, wouldn't you have killed your master's allies first? Although this isn't considered a great evil, it's still okay. Right, doesn't he have a daughter? If you kill master's daughter, it's also considered a great evil. Chongqi was enlightened immediately. Little fairy, you have more evil tricks. You're right. I'll kill them first, then consider whether to kill master or not. After saying that, Chongqi gave Qin Mingzhu a claw. Qin Mingzhu used all her strength to leap away from Chongqi's attack. Qi Nixiao quickly blocked Qin Mingzhu behind him. Chongqi said angrily, Chongqi, aren't you afraid that I'll punish you? You're just my soul beast, your spiritual sense has my spiritual sense imprint. If you continue to make trouble, I'll kill you. Chongqi laughed strangely. You are protecting your daughter. This is the relationship between father and daughter. I hate the relationship between humans. I will kill your accomplice first, and then I will kill your daughter. After saying that, Chongqi did not continue to chase after Qin Mingzhu. Instead, he pounced towards the Netherworld Palace, Yin Qingba, and the others. The people from the Netherworld Palace were about to cry. Qi Nixiao, the person you released was not our helper, but Yun Chujio's helper. Is there something wrong with this damn Chongqi's head? Yun Chujo tried to fool it, but it actually fell for it. It was really brainless. No matter how much they cursed in their hearts, it was useless. Chongqi's lethality was really too great. Although the power of the Netherworld was somewhat hindering it, the people of the Netherworld Hall also suffered heavy casualties. Dharma Protector Zhao cursed angrily, Qi Nixiao, what are you waiting for? Hurry up and kill this damn thing. Otherwise we will all die. Qi Nixiao was still a little hesitant. He really could not bear to part with Chongqi, this great killing weapon. However, seeing that the situation had gone out of control, he could only use the spiritual imprint hidden in Chongqi's remnant soul to prepare to kill Chongqi. Seeing the situation, Yun Chujo shouted, Chongqi, you idiot! He wants to kill you, why don't you hurry up and kill him? At least before you die, you can still do such a terrible thing like killing your master. Hearing Yun Chujia's words, Qiongqi gave Qini Xiao a claw. After Qini Xiao dodged, he used his spiritual imprint. Qiongqi's huge body started to tremble, but it still continued to attack Qini Xiao. Yun Chujia's eyes flashed, and she jumped forward to attack Qini Xiao with several small spiritual pigs. Xueli and the others also reacted and started to attack the remaining people of the Netherworld Hall. Even though Qiongqi's figure had already begun to fade, he still roared loudly, taking advantage of others' danger. Little fairy, you are indeed a great villain. Yun Chujiu did not know whether she should cry or laugh. This Qiongqi was really a clown. Qini Xiao had to divert his attention to deal with Yun Chujiu, so the speed of wiping out Qiongqi had slowed down. Qiongqi's ferocity was aroused, and he gave Qini Xiao a claw. Qini Xiao hurriedly dodged. His intestines were green with regret. He originally thought that it was to release a great killing weapon, but he didn't expect that although the great killing weapon was a great killing weapon, it was a great killing weapon that didn't help. It was simply infuriating. Qiongqi only had one goal in his heart, and that was to kill his master. Only in this way could he be worthy of the infamous name of the ancient fierce beast. Therefore, he ignored the danger of his remnant soul dissipating, and attacked Qini Xiao with his left claw and right claw. How could Qini Xiao be a match for Qiongqi? After a few rounds he was killed by Qiongqi's claws. Qiongqi laughed evilly, ha ha, ha ha ha. I did it. I finally succeeded in killing my master. I'm the leader of the beasts. Yun Chujia's eyes flashed. Should I accept this idiot? Yin Qinghua and Yin Qingba were also killed by Xueli and the others. Only the people of the Netherworld Hall were still struggling with the power of the Netherworld. However, it was only a matter of time before they were killed. This was because their number was much smaller than the number of people on the Tianyuan continent. Dharma Protector Zhao gritted his teeth. It seemed that the tide had already turned. It was better to save his life than to leave the Green Mountain with nothing to burn. Thinking of this, Dharma Protector Zhao bit his index finger and formed a seal with his hands, disappearing from the spot. Once Dharma Protector Zhao left, the remaining members of the Netherworld Hall were leaderless. Soon they were either killed or captured by D-Biming and the others. The catastrophe that was supposed to be on the Tianyuan continent came to an end just like that. This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. However, Yun Chujiu was feeling a little uneasy. The method that Dharma Protector Zhao used to disappear was extremely similar to the secret technique of the Divine Devil Hall. Could it be that this so-called Hall of the Netherworld was related to the Divine Devil Hall? Although Yun Chujiu was feeling uneasy, she still had to deal with the aftermath first. She could only temporarily put this matter to the back of her mind. Everyone began to clean up the battlefield. Xue Wuji jumped in front of Yun Chujiu. Little sister Jiu, you're too ungrateful. You've solved all the problems, making me look so useless. Originally I wanted to kill everyone, but now I'm not helping at all. Yun Chujiu smiled brightly. Brother Wuji, there's nothing I can do. Who asked me to be so amazing? Now, even dark clouds can't hide my talent. When everyone heard that, Yun Chujiu's glorious image in their hearts instantly crumbled. Little Fairy Jiu, is it really alright for you to be so narcissistic? The aftermath of the incident could not be completed in a day or two. After this incident, the Guiyuan sect and the Yin family had to re-elect the family head. If things went wrong, there might even be an internal conflict. Yun Chujiu and the others naturally could not interfere, so they all bid their goodbyes. The few elders of the Guiyuan sect urged them to stay, and then they took the opportunity to agree. They did not have the mood to entertain these people at the moment, so they were fully prepared to fight for the position of sect leader. Yun Chujiu thought of Ziheng and his son, so she said to the few elders of the Jiayuan sect, "Elders, I have a presumptuous request. I wonder if you will agree?" The few elders' hearts trembled. They had long heard that this Yun Chujiu was a wild goose that plucked feathers. What request did she have? Could it be that she wanted to blackmail us? However, the Guiyuan sect was in the wrong in this matter. The few elders had no choice but to bite the bullet and ask, "Little Fairy Jiu, if you have any requests, feel free to mention them. What are you all so nervous about? Don't worry, I don't want money. I just want 2 people from you. Manager's son and his son from the canteen are old acquaintances of mine. I want to take them away. You won't disagree, right? Yun Chujo said with a smile. The elders heaved a sigh of relief. It turned out that they only wanted 2 people. Moreover, there was only 1 cook and 1 cripple. What was the big deal? Just give them to her. Little Fairy Gio is really too polite. Since they are old acquaintances of yours, then you can take them away. Men call manager's son and his son over. Take their identity jade tokens and let them leave with little Fairy Gio. Very quickly, manager's son and his mother were brought over. Di Lin Han and the others were initially puzzled as to why Yun Chujo wanted a pair of servants, but when they saw that delicate and handsome youth, they had a little understanding in their hearts. Although this youth's legs were not very agile. But this calm and bearing did not seem like an ordinary person. He probably had a background. Manager's son was scared silly by what had happened today. Fortunately, Zi Heng was there to comfort them. Yun Chujo smiled at them and said, Aunt Sun's Heng, come with me. Manager's son realized that the little girl in front of him was not Daybreak at all. His heart was in a mess. What was going on? Zi Heng smiled faintly and nodded. He took manager's son's hand and stood behind Yun Chujo. Lan Xiang and the servants who had bullied Yun Chujo were trembling with fear at this moment. They were afraid that Yun Chujo would find trouble with them. Yun Chujo only glanced at them and ignored them. These small figures were not worth her revenge at all. After the few elders of Guiyuan sect sent off Yun Chujo and the others, the first thing they did was to find the bodies of Qin Yixiao and Qin Mingzhu. Their purpose was very clear. They wanted to find their storage rings. Many of the Guiyuan sect's treasures and spirit stones should be in the hands of the father and daughter. However, what shocked them was that their hands were empty and there were no storage rings at all. Could it be that someone was taking advantage of the situation? After interrogating the disciples, no one saw anyone stealing the rings. It was really strange. Where did their rings go? The members of the Yin family were also furious. Yin Qinghua and Yin Qingbao's storage rings had also disappeared without a trace. The elders of the Guiyuan sect and the Yin family immediately began to blame each other. They all suspected that the other party had taken advantage of the chaos to take advantage of the ring, and almost started a fight. Then where did the rings of the 4 of them go? Cough cough, of course they were taken away by Yun Chujo, the Yenghua plucking the feathers. While others were fighting, this guy covered for Xiao He and took away Qin Yixiao and the others' rings. This guy was very confident. She had solved the disaster in the Tianyuan continent, so it was reasonable for her to take away such a small reward. This guy secretly looked at the things in the ring. He was so happy that he couldn't close his mouth. He was rich. Qin Yixiao and Yin Qinghua were both suspicious people, so they naturally carried the good things with them. Therefore, there were naturally a lot of good things in the storage ring. Little sister Jiao, what are you smiling about? Xue Wuji asked curiously. Yun Chujo blinked her eyes. I'm naturally happy that the crisis is over. Di Baiming guessed correctly in his heart. Little Jiao must have gotten some good stuff again. However, what was up with that Zi Heng? An old acquaintance? Where did she get an old acquaintance from? As the Tianyuan Academy was about to start in a few days, Yun Chujo decided to return to Tianyuan Academy directly. Although Di Baiming was reluctant, he could not stop her. Prince Charming, Aunt Sun and Zi Heng will temporarily return to the Hall of Immortals with you. Aunt Sun's pasta is not bad, you can let her go to the canteen. As for Zi Heng, you can make the arrangements. They have helped me a lot, you have to take care of them for me. Yun Chujo said to Di Baiming. Di Baiming nodded. Little Jiao, the spies in the Hall of the Netherworld have made some progress. We should be able to get the portraits of Shang Envi and the man in a while. I'll come and look for you then. Yun Chujo said in surprise, really? That's great. I think there's a high chance that they are my adoptive parents. After we confirm them, we can discuss how to save them. The 2 of them chatted for a while more before parting. Xue Wuji jumped over. Little sister Jiao, I'll escort you back to Tianyuan Academy. Yun Chujo looked at him suspiciously. Brother Wuji, why do I feel that your drunken intentions aren't in the wine? What danger can I face if I go back with Dean Huangfu and the others? Xue Wuji's eyes flickered and revealed an aggrieved expression. Little sister Jiao, how can you misunderstand my good intentions? You've really made brother too sad. Alright, it's my fault. Let's go. Let's go. Yun Chujiu curled her lips. Wu Ji must be hiding something from me. However, since he didn't say anything, I couldn't be bothered to ask. After all, he wouldn't harm me. A few days later, everyone returned to the Tianyuan Academy. Xue Wuji strolled around the Tianyuan Academy for a while before using the bait to leave. Yun Chujiu curled her lips and ignored him. Xue Wuji brought secret protector Hua Hua to the mansion in Void City. Several secret guards appeared and knelt on the ground. Xue Wuji gritted his teeth and asked, "Still no news of that woman? She hasn't come back either?" "Young master, we've searched almost all of Void City, but there's still no news of that woman. We've also searched the surrounding cities, but there's still no trace of her. A bunch of trash. Where can a person without spiritual power run to? Keep looking. If you still can't find her within half a year, you don't have to come back to see me," Xue Wuji said in exasperation. Over the past 2 months, Xue Wuji had often thought of that woman and that seductive night. The more he could not find her, the more he wanted to find her. Damn woman. When I find you, I will definitely teach you a good lesson. You slept with me and did not admit to it after putting on your clothes. How could such a good thing happen? This time, Xue Wuji came to Idol City with a trace of luck in his heart. Perhaps that damn woman would see him and come to find him. The facts proved that Xue Wuji was overthinking things. He lingered in Idol City for a few days, but there was no news of that woman. Xueli kept urging him to return to the Blood Demon sect, so he could only leave Idol City with a disappointed expression. Before Xue Wuji left, he went to say goodbye to Yun Chujiu. Yun Chujiu could see that he had something on his mind, so she asked a few more questions. Xue Wuji gave her an excuse. Xue Wuji thought to himself, "I was actually raped by a woman, and I even put on my clothes and ran away. I can't even say such a shameful thing even if I'm beaten to death. Let's talk about it after I find that damn woman." Seeing that Xue Wuji wasn't willing to say anything, Yun Chujiu couldn't ask any more questions. She waved her little handkerchief and sent Xue Wuji away. Deputy Dean and Yin Sulian didn't go to Guiyuan sect that day. They claimed that they knew nothing about the Yin family colluding with the Netherworld Hall, and they didn't have any real evidence, so they weren't punished. Deputy Dean was still the Deputy Dean of Tianyuan Academy, and Yin Sulian still came to school as scheduled. However, Yin Sulian had lost the halo of the Yin family's second young miss, so those lackeys would naturally stop supporting her. It would be good enough if they did not take the opportunity to step on her. Yin Sulian seemed to have changed into a completely different person. She spent all her time cultivating except for class. When she met Yun Chujiu, she also lowered her head to avoid her, but her lowered eyes seemed to have been poisoned. "Yun Chujiu, you caused me to lose everything. Sooner or later I will kill you for revenge." "Master, why didn't you kill that little bitch, Yin Sulian, and that old bastard Deputy Dean?" Xiao Hanyo asked in puzzlement. He did not believe that his black-hearted master would believe their nonsense. Of course, it's to bait the big fish with a long line. The people of the Netherworld Palace will not let this go. If they want to find an insider again, that old bastard Yin Haoyu is the best target. Yin Sulian is a brainless person. When the time comes, we can find a breakthrough from her. As long as we let people keep an eye on them, we will be able to learn about the Netherworld Palace's conspiracy. Moreover, we might even be able to use them to pass on some fake news. Just thinking about it is very wonderful. Yun Chujiu said with a smile. At this moment, the little black bird agreed with what Xiong Qi said. This black-hearted master was really full of evil tricks. Yun Chujiu told Dean Huangfu about her intention. Dean Huangfu immediately arranged for people to keep an eye on Deputy Dean and Yin Sulian. Once there was any movement, they would report it to him. Yun Chujiu was most troubled by the fact that her spiritual power level had been stuck at the 8th level of the Spirit Saint realm, and she was still unable to break through to the spiritual venerable realm. If she reached the spiritual venerable realm, she could at least go back to the Qingxian continent and show off. No, she could at least go back and visit her relatives and friends. Moreover, Only when she reached the spiritual venerable realm could she learn more skills from the old man. However, why didn't this damn heavenly lightning strike her? Yun Chujo thought for a long time and finally came up with a bad idea. This fellow came to her courtyard and after opening the isolation array, he took out the ancient green jade bottle containing Tao Wu and Chong Qi, holding one in each hand. He raised his head and shouted towards the sky, "Tian Dao, old bastard, look at what I'm holding in my hand." Old bastard, I am holding the remnant souls of the ancient beasts Tao Wu and Chong Qi. Are you just going to stand there and do nothing? If I accidentally turn these two into my soul beasts, wouldn't you be unable to kill me? Aren't you going to send heavenly lightning to strike me? Yun Chujo said arrogantly. Tao Wu and Chong Qi, who were inside the ancient jade bottle, were instantly dumbfounded. Tao Wu's thoughts, fuck. This damned brat, has she gone crazy? If she were to attract the heavenly lightning, I won't be able to live and she won't be able to live either. Chong Qi's thoughts. Oh my god. This little fairy is really too evil. I really like her to the point of no return. If I can die together with her, it wouldn't be too bad. Needless to say, Yun Chujia's evil trick really worked. Not long after, the sky darkened. Yun Chujia's heart was filled with joy as she took the two green jade bottles and ran towards Dean Huangfu's courtyard. In fact, she didn't need to hide it anymore. After all, everyone knew how abnormal she was now. She wasn't afraid of being struck by lightning. However, she thought to herself that if her courtyard was struck by lightning, she would have to clean it up. It was better to let the heavenly lightning strike old man Huangfu's courtyard. Yun Chujo ran to Dean Huangfu's courtyard. Dean Huangfu was already waiting in the courtyard. When he saw that the sky suddenly turned dark, he guessed that the little freak was about to break through. Dean Huangfu opened the isolation array with ease. He took out a chair and sat in the corner. He even took out a lot of spirit potatoes and threw them to Yun Chujo. The corner of Yun Chujia's eyes twitched. Did he really treat her like a roasted spirit potato? The students of Tianyuan Academy were also used to it. Yun Chujo was definitely going to be struck again. Only the freshmen were dumbfounded. Why did the sky suddenly darken? Wu Yun quickly gathered above Dean Huangfu's courtyard. The immense pressure was suffocating. However, Yun Chujia's face was full of smiles. Ha, this was great. She was finally going to be struck by lightning again. Boom! A purple heavenly lightning as thick as an arm struck down towards Yun Chujo. Yun Chujo impatiently absorbed the heavenly lightning into her body. Then she said to the sky, "Little Yun, quick! Give me another 10,000 heavenly lightning bolts. Strike me to your heart's content." Wu Yun was helpless in the sky. Who did not know that this pervert could not be struck to death? Even if the strike was very strong, she would still run into the trial tower to avoid it. It was simply infuriating. However, they did not dare not come, so they could only strike down step by step. After striking for a while, they saw an ugly black bird and a Xiao Mogu appear below. They were all waiting to be struck with a look of enjoyment. Wu Yun was so angry that he was about to collapse. He had seen that bird before, but why was there another abnormal Xiao Mogu? As expected, the kind of master had the kind of spirit pet and demonic plant. Dean Huangfu, who was waiting in the corner to roast the spirit potato, was also dumbfounded. Xiao Mogu was not afraid of being struck by lightning? The little abnormal things were indeed abnormal. The heavenly lightning continued for a full 10 hours, from the afternoon until late at night. The students who were watching from afar yawned and left. Only Feng Ming and the others were still waiting in the distance. Although they knew that Yun Chujo would be fine. But they still felt relieved when they saw that she was safe and sound with their own eyes. Finally, the heavenly lightning began to become sparse. Yun Chujo flew out of the pit in high spirits and waved her claws at the dark clouds in the sky. "Not bad, try to strike a little more next time," Wu Yun said. The dark clouds in the sky twitched and flew away while trembling. Tao Wu and Chong Qi, who had already been put into the spiritual beast bag, waited for a long time without any abnormalities. They were not Yun Chujia's soul beasts, so they naturally could not know the situation outside. The two of them were puzzled. Did the heavenly thunder not come at all? Otherwise, why did nothing happen? Yun Chujio was starving after being struck for a long time. Hence, she took out a chair from her storage ring and sat opposite Dean Huangfu. The old and the young were wolfing down the roasted spiritual potatoes. Dean Huangfu frowned. Little Jiu, why do I see the mark of the Guyuan sect on this chair? I took it out of convenience. Dean, guess what my spiritual power level is now? Yun Chujio started to change the topic without batting an eyelid. This guy thought to himself, damn, this broken chair actually has a mark on it. I almost gave it away. I have to be more careful next time. Dean Huangfu's attention was indeed diverted. He did not know that Yun Chujio had secretly broken through several times. However, he felt that Yun Chujio must have hidden her strength. So he used his courage to guess, 8th level of the Spirit Saint realm? Yun Chujio bared her little white teeth and stretched out 2 fingers. The roasted spirit potato in Dean Huangfu's hand dropped to the ground with a thud. Spirit, 2nd level of the Spirit Paragon realm? Yun Chujio nodded with a smile. If it weren't for the damn heavenly lightning that stopped striking, I might have broken through to the next level. Dean Huangfu only had 2 words in his mind, pervert. Yun Chujio chewed on a few roasted spirit potatoes and clapped her hands. Dean, I'm going back. I wish you a good sleep. After a long while, Dean Huangfu finally came back to his senses. He looked at the few deep pits in the courtyard and shook his head with a bitter smile. This heavenly thunder spirit root was indeed abnormal. In just 2 years, it had actually broken through from the 1st level of the spirit sect to the 2nd level of the Spirit Paragon realm. Such a speed was simply unheard of. His Excellency and young Master Wuji were already extremely talented. He did not expect that Yun Chujio would actually be better. It had been a long time since anyone had ascended to a higher level of the Tianyuan continent. Perhaps these 3 people could ascend. Yun Chujio was in a good mood. She returned to her dormitory under the escort of Feng Ming and the others. This fellow did not care that it was already late at night. He took out his voice transmission talisman and sent a message to Di Biming. Dear Prince Charming, I have good news for you. I have broken through to the 2nd level of the spiritual venerable realm. In a few days we can return to the Qingxian continent to show off. Visiting relatives. Not long after, the voice transmission talisman started to vibrate. The corner of Yun Chujio's mouth curled up. The boyfriend who replied instantly was the cutest. Little Joe, I also have good news for you. My spiritual power has finally broken through. Di Biming's excited voice came from the voice transmission talisman. Then what is your spiritual power level now? Yun Chujio asked impatiently. 8th level of the spiritual venerable realm. There was a hint of excitement in Di Biming's voice. He had been stuck at the 7th level of the spiritual venerable realm for 2 years, and this time he finally succeeded in breaking through. Yun Chujio said with a slightly sour tone. Then congratulations. Perhaps you will ascend very soon. How could Di Biming understand Yun Chujio's sour mood? He replied with a smile, I hope so. I can only protect you better by becoming stronger. Moreover, when I reach a higher level continent, perhaps I can help you find a way to solve the problem of Guai Chao. Yun Chujio felt a little better after hearing Di Biming's words. Luckily, the gigolo still had a conscience. However, what would she do if he ascended first? Yun Chujio hesitated for a moment, then she spat at herself. Yun Chujio. Oh Yun Chujio, look at you. Don't you even have this bit of confidence? Not to mention that the gigolo just ascended first even if he became a god first, so what? Worrying about gains and losses is not my character, Yun Chujio. If the gigolo dares to betray me, I will kill him. It's all this damn Guai Chao's fault. If it wasn't for it, would I be able to eat the pretty boy clean? Damn dog's tail. Go away ba. Guai Chao was already used to it. Yun Chujio would definitely scold it a few hundred times every once in a while so it could only listen obediently. A few days later it happened to be the day of rest. Just as Yun Chujio was considering whether she should go to Long Wind Inn, a student ran over. Yun Chujio, Lan Luochen is waiting for you at the academy's entrance. He says he has something to ask you. Yun Chujio's heart skipped a beat. Could it be that he had come to take revenge for the 2 white lotuses? The last time she hit Lan Luok's sore spot, it was enough for her to suffer for 3 days and 3 nights. Was this brother standing up for his younger sister? Yun Chujo came to the entrance of the academy and saw a group of female students surrounding Lan Luochen. However, due to his cold expression, no one dared to approach him. When Lan Luochen saw Yun Chujo coming out, a faint smile appeared on his face. Those female students were so mesmerized that they almost fainted. In their hearts they were extremely envious of Yun Chujo, but they didn't dare to hate her. This guy was simply a great weapon. Unless they didn't want to live anymore, they would only dare to hate her. Lan Luochen, are you looking for me? Yun Chujo smiled as she walked to Lan Luchen's side. Yes, let's go to the Drunken Immortal restaurant to talk. It's not very convenient to talk here. Lan Luochen said lightly. Yun Chujo thought about it. It was indeed inconvenient to have so many fangirls here. So she eagerly followed Lan Luochen to the Drunken Immortal restaurant. When the staff of the Drunken Immortal restaurant saw the two of them coming over, especially when they saw Yun Chujo, they were extremely attentive and moved the two of them to the private room on the second floor. After ordering the dishes, Yun Chujo asked Lan Luochen, "Why are you looking for me? Are you looking for me to settle the score for your sister and mother?" Lan Luochen shook his head. "I know my mother and Luok's personalities. I had no idea that they had gone to the Temple of Immortals. If I knew, I would have definitely stopped them. I'm not here to settle the score with you. On the contrary, I'm here to thank you for being lenient and not being ruthless towards them." Yun Chujo was stunned. She did not expect Lan Luochen to say this no matter what she said. She was a little embarrassed that he was so polite. She laughed dryly. Since it's already over, let's not talk about it anymore. What have you been busy with these days? Lan Luchen's eyes flickered slightly. I'm only busy with some family matters. I heard that a few days ago, you resolved another plot of the Netherworld Hall against the Tianyuan continent? Yun Chujo immediately recounted the events with great joy. Of course, there were some places that needed to be modified. For example, the forbidden area of the Temple of Immortals and Ziheng's identity as a spirit master. However, this fellow was an expert at lying. There was no problem in justifying himself. Lan Luochen had a faint smile on his face as he listened to Yun Chujo showing off. The color in his eyes turned dark. He had to think of a way to get little Jiu. Only by looking at her could he feel the joy of living. Just as Yun Chujo was showing off, a person walked in from outside the door. Yun Chujo was tongue-tied and said with a slight guilty conscience, "Prince Charming, why are you here?" This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. Yun Chujo looked at the expressionless Di Biming and felt a little guilty. Oh no, she forgot to report it earlier. How could it be so coincidental that she cheated on him? No, she only came out once and was caught by him? What bad luck. Yun Chujo was already prepared for Di Biming to fly into a rage. She did not expect Di Biming to only lightly say, "I came to see you. Coincidentally, I heard that you and young Master Lan were having a meal here, so I rushed over. Young Master Lan won't mind, right?" Lan Luochen and Di Biming's gazes intertwined in the air. Yun Chujo could faintly feel that there were flames shooting in all directions. Lan Luchen's eyes flashed. "Since your esteemed self is willing to give you a favor, I naturally can't wait for it. Waiter, give me another set of cutlery." The waiter sent over a set of cutlery in fear and trepidation. Moreover, he sent over many dishes on his own accord. He stuttered, your esteemed self, these are all given to you by our shop." Di Biming nodded. It was as if the waiter had received a great favor. He almost jumped out of the room. Yun Chujo pursed her lips. She felt sour in her heart. Seriously, she could be considered a celebrity now. Why didn't he gift her a few dishes? In terms of looks, she was also a beauty that could topple countries and cities. In terms of spiritual power, although she was not as tall as the gigolo, she was still considered pretty good. In terms of contributions, she had also resolved the calamity of the Tianyuan continent. Okay? Why did they treat her differently? The more Yun Chujo thought about it, the more she could not figure it out. This fellow simply shouted, "Buddy, come in for a moment." That buddy was in the midst of the excitement of the revered one nodding at him. Yun Chujo shouted several times before he finally reacted and hurriedly entered the private room. Little Fairy Joe, what are your orders? Cough cough. Buddy, there is something that I don't quite understand. You must answer honestly, otherwise HMP. Yun Chujo said fiercely. The buddy's legs immediately went soft. Everyone knew that Little Fairy Joe was a big killer now. It was said that even Cheong-chi said that she was a bad person. It could be seen how bad she was. He stuttered, Little Fairy Joe, please speak. What are you trembling for? As long as you answer honestly, I won't do anything to you. I'll ask you one thing. Why didn't you give me so many dishes when Venerable Mao came? What is the difference between him and me? Yun Chujo asked with a frown. The corner of D. Biming's eyes twitched and he started to peel the shrimp shells for Yun Chujo expressionlessly. The waiter was dumbfounded. What kind of question was this? He stammered for a long time but he could not say anything. Only when Yun Chujo threatened him fiercely did the waiter stammer. Your Excellency is the hero of our Tianyuan continent. Nonsense. Then am I not a hero? I just resolved a great disaster. Yun Chujo said unconvinced. Yes, you are a hero too. But, Your Excellency is a godlike existence in our hearts. He is high up and respected by people so, okay, I got it. You don't have to say anymore. Go out. Yun Chujo said angrily. The waiter wiped the cold sweat off his forehead and quickly left. Damn it, he was scared to death. This little devil was too scary. Yun Chujo already knew the reason for the difference in treatment from the waiter's words. Damn it, after all it came down to two words, temperament. Yun Chujo glanced at D. Biming. Damn it. Even peeling a shrimp shell had an aura of pretentiousness. Who didn't know how to act aloof? She knew how to act too. This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. Yun Chujia's temperament suddenly changed. She looked like a fairy who did not eat the mortal world. However, Little Joe, my mother asked the canteen to specially make this for you. Why don't you try it? D. Biming put the peeled shrimp meat in front of Yun Chujo. This guy did not use chopsticks. He directly took a few shrimp meat and threw it into his mouth. He immediately smiled and said, It's really delicious. Aunt really loves me. The corners of D. Biming's mouth curled up. He still helped Yun Chujo peel the prawn without batting an eyelid. Lan Luochen watched the interaction between the two of them. The anger in his heart kept rising and his entire person became somewhat gloomy. However, in just an instant, he returned to his cool appearance with a slightly provocative tone. He said to D. Biming, Your Holiness, I heard that a few days ago, Little Joe relied on her own strength to resolve a disaster. I wonder where Your Holiness was at that time? D. Biming's eyes darkened. He naturally knew the meaning behind Lan Luchen's question. It was no other than to say that he was useless and could not protect Yun Chujo. D. Biming said in a deep voice, Little Joe has repeatedly fallen into danger, but I am powerless. I admit that I am indeed too weak. However, I will work hard to become stronger, so strong that I can protect Little Joe from the slightest bit of harm. Lan Luochen never thought that D. Biming would admit that he was weak so openly. Wasn't it said that D. Biming's personality was extremely cold and arrogant? Yun Chujo was so smart, so she naturally heard the underlying meaning of the two people's words. She giggled, I believe that Prince Charming will become more and more powerful, and I will also become more and more powerful. Cultivation is always about facing difficulties. If I don't experience some hardships, how can I become stronger? Let's not talk about this anymore. The dishes are already cold. Hurry up and eat. D. Biming and Lan Luochen saw that Yun Chujo wanted to change the topic, so they could not continue. Moreover, Lan Luochen was caught off guard by D. Biming's frank confession. The words that he had prepared were no longer useful. D. Biming and Lan Luochen ate a few mouthfuls symbolically. Yun Chujo was eating happily. Before she left, she even packed the leftovers. Yun Chujo grabbed D. Biming's arm and hopped out of the drunken immortal restaurant. Lan Luochen looked at their backs coldly and turned around to leave. Yun Chujo and D. Biming strolled on the streets for a while, and gained the envy of countless fangirls. Yun Chujo cursed in her heart. This evil world that looked at faces. Wasn't the gigolo just a little better looking? Wasn't his figure just good? Wasn't it just a very pretentious temperament? Wasn't it already at the 8th level of the Supreme Being realm? Wasn't it just a rich family? Wasn't it just a few small advantages? Did you all have to drool like dogs looking at bones? Yun Chujo rolled her eyes and gave Di Biming a peck on the cheek. Then, she looked at those fangirls in a show of force. Yun Chujo seemed to hear the sound of someone's heart being broken. Only then did this fellow's heart calm down. Humph, to put it another way. The performance of these people showed that my taste was good enough. The two of them returned to the Long Wind and sweetly. Shopkeeper Chi respectfully let the two of them into the upper room, and let them serve tea and snacks. The two of them naturally lingered for a while. Di Biming said to Yun Chujo with a serious expression, "Little Joe, what I said in the Drunken Immortal Tower before was my true thoughts. You have been in danger many times, but I was unable to do anything. I blame myself very much. I'm still too weak." Yun Chujia's face sank. "Prince Charming, there was an outsider here, so I didn't say much. Now I have to talk about you." This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. When Di Biming heard Yun Chujo address Lan Luochen as an outsider, his heart felt so good that it was about to fly up. The corners of his mouth could not help but curl up. Yun Chujo naturally did not know what Di Biming was thinking. He continued, "Indeed, I have been trapped in the mystic realm so many times and you were unable to do anything. However, it was Tian Dao who went against me. That old bastard Tian Dao might be a black-hearted person, but he's really too powerful. Not to mention Prince Charming, even 10,000 of your masters wouldn't be able to resist Tian Dao. Moreover, I'm not a delicate flower that can't withstand the wind and rain. You've always protected me and kept me under your wings. I'm not in danger anymore, but how can I grow and become stronger? Moreover, how do you want to become stronger? You are already at the 8th level of the spiritual venerable realm, and there are almost no opponents in the Tianyuan continent. I am only at the 2nd level of the spiritual venerable realm, so weak." Di Biming was a little worried before, afraid that Yun Chujo would complain that his strength was not strong enough. Hearing Yun Chujia's words, his heart warmed, and he held Yun Chujia's shoulders with both hands. He said word by word, "Little Joe, the 8th level of the spiritual venerable realm is far from enough. I want to become stronger, so strong that I can fight against Tian Dao. I know this may be a joke, but I don't want to worry that you will be killed by Tian Dao. I don't want my woman to be in danger and I can't do anything about it. So I will break through to the peak of the 9th level of the spiritual venerable realm as soon as possible, so that I have the possibility to ascend to the high-level continent. There will definitely be more advanced cultivation methods there, and I can become strong enough to protect you." Yun Chujo pursed her lips, then she howled, "Woo-woo, Prince Charming, you make me feel so ashamed. Previously, I was jealous of you because your spiritual power level was much higher than mine. I was worried that you would be seduced by other coquettish bitches after you ascended. I was really too narrow-minded, woo-woo." Di Biming. Could he take back what he said just now? Such a person would not be worried that he was not strong but that he was too strong, okay? Yun Chujo wiped her tears with her sleeve and asked while sobbing, "Prince Charming, you won't blame me, right?" Di Biming touched her hair. "Silly, why would I blame you? If anyone should be blamed, it should be you. I originally thought that I was strong enough, but now I realize that it was still far from enough. Let's not talk about the distance. It's my incompetence that the Netherworld Palace has succeeded so many times. I need to think of a way to completely eliminate the Netherworld Palace so that there won't be any future trouble." Yun Chujo nodded. "That's right. It's best to kill that Vice Palace Master Lu. With him in the Netherworld Palace, there won't be any peace. When the old Palace Master was still in power, he didn't attack our Tianyuan continent. It was only after he took power that he shamelessly coveted the Tianyuan continent. Alright, little Joe, I'm here to tell you the good news. The spy in the Netherworld Palace has already given me the portrait of Shang Envi and that man. Come and take a look." Di Biming took out the portrait from his storage ring and placed it on the table. Yun Chujo couldn't wait to look at the man and woman in the portrait. The man was slightly sick. It was obvious that he had an old illness, but his face was handsome and his temperament was extraordinary. The woman was very beautiful and had a noble temperament. However, there was a hint of worry between her brows. Yoon Chujio had the impression of her foster parents in her memories. Although there was a slight difference between them and the two people in the painting, there was no doubt that these two people were the long-lost Yoon Jongqing and Lin Biyun. This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. It's just as I thought. It's really them, Yoon Chujio said excitedly. Lee Biming was also very happy. Finding Yoon Chujio's foster mother would allow him to know the origin of the seed. Perhaps he could find a way to get rid of the Guai Chao. However, how could he save the two of them? If the two of them were in the Tianxian continent, it would not be a problem. The key problem now was that they were in the Netherworld continent. Although there were some spies from the Temple of Immortals there, it was extremely difficult to save them. The Saintess Hall was located in the center of the Netherworld Hall. It would take a lot of effort to get a portrait of the Saintess, let alone to save Shang and Vi in the Tianyuan continent. Lee Biming and Yoon Chujio discussed and decided that the safest way was to kill Vice Palace Master Lu first, and then think of a way for the Saintess to ascend to the position of Shang and Vi. If that was the case, not only would the Saintess regain her freedom, moreover, it was also a good way to resolve the root cause of the peace between the Tianyuan continent and the Netherworld continent. Yoon Chujio blinked her eyes. Prince Charming, I have an idea. See if it works. The Netherworld Hall has invaded our Tianyuan continent many times. Why don't you gather all the major forces of the Tianyuan Grand Ceremony to attack the Netherworld Hall? Lee Biming frowned. Little Jiu, it's not that we have never thought of attacking the Netherworld continent, but the spiritual energy in the Netherworld continent is much weaker than our Tianyuan continent. Our spies have been hiding for many years before they adapted to it. If the people of the Tianyuan continent enter the Netherworld continent's territory, their spiritual energy will be greatly reduced. Moreover, we don't have the geographical advantage nor the people. There's a high chance that we will return in defeat. Prince Charming, I'm not done yet. Bringing people to attack them is just a diversion. I'll secretly sneak into the Netherworld continent and think of a way to sneak into the Netherworld Hall. I'll help my mother turn the tables on them. When the time comes, we'll attack from both inside and out and kill that old bastard Vice Palace Master Lu. This is called cultivating in the open while hiding in the dark. Yoon Chujio said proudly. Lee Biming's face immediately darkened. Little Joe, what did I tell you before? Have you forgotten everything? You better put this idea out of your mind as soon as possible. I will never allow you to take risks alone. Your idea is feasible. I will send someone else to do it. Yoon Chujio stuck out her tongue. Prince Charming, I'm just making a suggestion. I know it's too risky, but my mother and father will only believe me if I go. Besides, I'm so smart. Your subordinates aren't as smart as me. No matter how many reasons you have, it won't work. Let's not talk about other things. Almost everyone in the Netherworld Palace has seen your portrait. You'll be exposed if you go. Even if your appearance isn't recognized, your spiritual power will be easily recognized. Once you're recognized, do you still have a way to live? So you better get rid of this thought right now, or I will not forgive you. Lee Biming said with an even gloomier expression. I know. I was just saying. It would be great if there was something that could change one's appearance. As for spiritual power, I will not use it. Yoon Chujio pouted and said. Lee Biming was afraid that Yoon Chujio would cause trouble, so he repeated it a few times in a very serious manner. Yoon Chujio simply kissed her and finally stopped. The next day, Lee Biming and Yoon Chujio did not go out for a stroll. The two of them continued to discuss the matters of the Netherworld Hall. At this moment, Lee Biming's voice transmission talisman started to vibrate. After Lee Biming sent his divine sense in, he smiled and said, Little Joe, my master is here. This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. Really? Where is he? Yun Chujo was also very excited. She had always heard that the pretty boy had an awesome master, but she had never seen him before. This time she could finally see him. The master of the pretty boy should be an old immortal with a sage-like demeanor. Master has already arrived at the entrance of the inn. Let's go out and welcome him. Di Biming and Yun Chujo had just arrived downstairs when they saw Feng respectfully accompanying an old man in. Yun Chujo almost tripped and fell. This was the gigolo's master, the old man from the heavenly lake? Damn, where was that immortal-like character? Where was that unworldly-like character? The old man in front of him had a wine gourd in his left hand and a drumstick in his right hand. He walked and gnawed on it as he walked. No matter how one looked at it, he looked like a piece of trash. Master! Di Biming greeted the old man. The old man took a sip of wine and nodded. This brat is not bad. He is already at the 8th level of the spiritual venerable realm. Is this little girl the little 9th who has been tricked by the Qi Ling many times? Yun Chujo was very smart. She immediately bowed and greeted him obediently. Greetings, master. The old man almost spat out the wine in his mouth. What the hell was a master? Di Biming glared at Yun Chujo. That meant don't mess around. Yun Chujo ignored him. She said to the old man with a smile, Godmaster, you are my Prince Charming's master. It's most appropriate for me to call you Godmaster. Otherwise, I can call you master directly. I don't mind taking in another master. The corner of the old man's eyes twitched. He had heard of taking in disciples, but he had never heard of taking in a master. This little 9th girl was just like what Biming said. She was really temperamental. Little 9th girl, I heard that you have already taken Zhang Bujia as your master. I still have some relations with him. You can call me Martial Uncle. The Heaven Lake old man said as he drank a mouthful of wine. All right, Martial Uncle, you've come a long way. It's been hard on you. Quickly go inside and rest. Shopkeeper Chi, hurry up and prepare tea and snacks for my Martial Uncle. Yun Chujo said eagerly. The old man of the Heaven Lake could not help but sigh in his heart. This was really a case of one thing conquering another. Bei Ming, this brat, was both furry and arrogant. In the end, he actually fell in love with such a little scoundrel. Who would have thought, who would have thought? The three of them sat down and chatted briefly. After that, the old man of the Heaven Lake said, the main reason I came here this time is to see what exactly is going on with the Guai Chao and Little Zhou's Dantian. Little Zhou, give me your right hand. After Yun Chujo stretched out her right hand, the old man examined it. Then he said, that Guai Chao has now become one with Little Zhou's Dantian. In other words, you have to risk your Dantian to get it out. Yun Chujia's face twitched as she asked, is there no other way? The old man sighed. Ever since Bei Ming told me, I have been looking for a way. Other than taking out the Dantian, there is another way. That is to ascend to a higher level continent. Perhaps there will be a way to solve the Guai Chao. Master, we have confirmed that the Saintess of the Netherworld Hall is Little Zhou's foster mother. If we find her and ask her about the origin of the seed, will it help? Di Biming shook Yun Chujia's hand, indicating that she should not worry too much. If we can find out the origin of the seed, it might be of some help. However, I heard that the Netherworld Hall is now controlled by Vice Palace Master Lu. The Saintess is like a puppet. I'm afraid it will not be easy to meet her foster mother, said the old man of the Heaven Lake, Shang Envi. Yun Chujo blinked her eyes. Uncle Master, do you have any way to change a person's appearance, the kind that people can't recognize? Change one's appearance? That's not impossible. I refined a kind of disguise pill. After consuming it, a person's appearance will change. Why are you asking this? The Heavenly Lake Elder asked in confusion. Di Biming glared at Yun Chujo fiercely. Little Zhou, you better get rid of that idea as soon as possible. Yun Chujo ignored Di Biming. She knew that he was just a paper tiger. She smiled at the Heaven Lake old man and said, Uncle Master, my Prince Charming and I have come up with a way to deal with the Netherworld Hall. Since we have the disguise pill, it's much easier. I can think of a way to sneak into the Netherworld Hall, and then help my foster mother control the Netherworld Hall. This way I can kill many birds with one stone. It's simply too good. Master, don't listen to her nonsense. Even if she could change her appearance, her spiritual power was so special that she would be exposed if she was not careful. Wasn't that the same as a sheep entering the tiger's mouth? If I have to go, I will go. At least I can still protect myself. Biming glared at Yun Chujio and said, You will be exposed if you go with that paralyzed face. How are you as smart as me? Yun Chujio regretted immediately after she said that. It was over. She had said it without saying anything. Biming's body was filled with cold air. If it wasn't for the presence of the old man from the Heaven Lake, he would have definitely dealt with Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio laughed dryly. Uncle Master, please judge. Am I right? The old man from the Heaven Lake thought for a moment. What little Joe said is not without reason. If she goes, it will be easier for her to gain the trust of the saintess. Moreover, she has many wicked ideas and is more suitable to do this kind of thing. Biming, even if you change your appearance, your temperament will be too easy for others to find clues. Master, but little Jiao has a heavenly thunder spirit root. Isn't it easier to be discovered? Biming was anxious. He didn't expect the old man to agree with Yun Chujio's bad idea. The heavenly thunder spirit root is actually a mutated fire spirit root. I can teach little Jiao a cultivation technique and let her disguise as a fire spirit root. The old man said indifferently, Uncle Master, you are really a good Uncle Master of Tunun. You don't know that just because of this thunder spirit root I don't dare to do bad things. I'm afraid of being exposed. It's good that I've learned your cultivation technique. I don't have to worry about being caught anymore. Ha ha. The old man of the Heavenly Lake. Biming. Although the old man of the Heavenly Lake really wanted to take back what he said just now, he had already said it, so he could only pass the mantra to Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio blinked her eyes and said, Prince Charming, you can learn it with me. Your ice spirit root is suitable for water spirit and mutated spirit root. This way we can do bad things together. It feels good just thinking about it. Haha. Biming sighed and had no choice but to learn it with her. Both of them were extremely talented geniuses and had learned the cultivation technique in less than half a day. The old man from the Heaven Lake nodded secretly. This little ninth girl was indeed talented and intelligent. No wonder even the Tian Dao could not kill her. In time she would definitely ascend to a higher level of the continent. After Yun Chujio learned the method to change her spirit root, she said fawningly, Uncle Master, you can give me that transfiguration pill too. The old man from the Heaven Lake took out a small porcelain bottle. The materials for the transfiguration pill are very difficult to gather. I only refined 2 batches of it. One pill only has the medicinal effect of 10 days. After 10 days, your appearance will return to normal. So don't forget to swallow another pill after the medicinal effect is over. This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. Yun Chujio opened the porcelain bottle and saw that there were 5 pills inside. The old man of the Heaven Lake must have kept a few pills for himself. He thought to himself, this old man is really stingy. He only gave me 5 pills. If the old man of the Heaven Lake knew that she thought so, he would probably be so angry that he would pass out. He only refined 15 pills in total. He gave you 5 pills at once and you are still not satisfied? Why are you so greedy? Uncle Master, please give me the prescription as well. You also know that I'm often cheated by Qiling. Maybe I can help you find the herbs you need. Yun Chujio blinked her eyes and said. The old man of the Heaven Lake laughed and scolded. You little girl, it's fake to help me find the herbs. Do you want to refine them yourself in the future? He half and half. Why are you and I still separated? Yun Chujio said shamelessly. The old man of the Heaven Lake finally understood why his silly disciple was taken away by this little girl. This girl was really shameless. The old man of the Heaven Lake dictated the pill formula. Yun Chujio understood that if she wrote it on a piece of paper, it would be easy to leak it. She thought to herself, this is also an old fox. Yun Chujio had most of the herbs needed to refine the transfiguration pill. There were only 2 herbs that she did not have. One was the lotus seed of the thousand-leaf golden grade lotus, and the other was the dragon blood ginseng. If she had the chance in the future, she would just have to pay attention to it. These 5 herbs could last for 50 days, it was enough. Although he had the transfiguration pill and the cultivation technique that could change his spiritual power, Di Biming still did not agree to Yun Chujo risking her life. The old man from the Heaven Lake said, "There are very few people who have seen my appearance. I will head to the River of Forgetfulness City near the Netherworld Hall immediately. When the time comes, little Jo can send me a message if she is in danger. I can also help out a little." Only then did Di Biming reluctantly agree. The 3 of them discussed the details in detail and decided on the final plan before leaving. Yun Chujo hopped back to the Tianyuan Academy, and after muttering to Dean Huangfu for a while, she finally returned to her own dormitory. In the following period of time, Yun Chujo found an old man and learned how to draw the sudden rupture talisman. Every day, other than attending classes, she would draw the sudden rupture talisman. This fellow thought to himself, "Damn it, this trip to the Netherworld continent is extremely dangerous, I have to be fully prepared." If she was provoked, she would blow up the Netherworld palace. Very soon there was an explosive news. The Temple of Immortals had taken the lead, and the various forces of the Tianyuan continent had united to attack the Netherworld continent in half a month's time. The Netherworld Palace naturally would not sit still and wait for death. After receiving the news, they immediately organized their men to carry out a blockade. The 2 sides had formed a standoff at the boundary of the Burning Sky Wasteland. Although the situation was tense, everything was normal in the Tianyuan Academy. It was time for classes and trials. Yun Chujia's 5th grade students rushed to a place called the Falling Eagle Slope for trials. Deputy Dean had already hooked up with the people of the Netherworld Palace, so he naturally reported this news to Vice Palace Master Lu. Although Vice Palace Master Lu wished he could send people to the Falling Eagle Slope to kill Yun Chujio, he could not spare any manpower in the face of a great enemy. However, he heaved a sigh of relief in his heart. It was a good thing that the 2 armies did not have Yun Chujio as their enemy. At this moment, Yun Chujio had already sneaked out of the gap in the array formation of the Fallen Eagle Slope as she had discussed with Deputy Dean Xiao, who was leading the team, and headed straight for the Blazing Sky Wilderness. Yun Chujio had already taken the disguise pill. Other than her eyes, the rest of her body had changed. She had become a delicate and pretty little girl. Most importantly, her complexion had become a little dark. Even those who were very familiar with Yun Chujio would not be able to recognize her. Yun Chujio used the mirror to look at herself. She was very satisfied. The Netherworld continent, here I come. This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. Yun Chujio took advantage of the high moon and the dark wind. Under the deliberate concealment of Di Biming, she finally slipped into the Netherworld continent's territory. The Blazing Sky Wasteland was very large. Although the Netherworld Hall's people took turns to patrol, they still allowed Yun Chujio to find a loophole to escape from the battlefield. The Netherworld continent's spiritual energy was indeed much weaker than the Tianyuan continent's. No wonder they wanted to absorb the spiritual energy of the Black Netherworld Stone. However, to Yun Chujio, this little pervert, it basically did not have any effect. Yun Chujio followed the map sent back by the spies of the Temple of Immortals and headed to the River of Forgetfulness City. She planned to meet the Old Man of the Heaven Lake first, then contact the spies of the Temple of Immortals and think of a way to sneak into the Netherworld Palace. The Blazing Sky Wasteland was tens of thousands of miles away from the River of Forgetfulness City. Naturally, she could not walk there. Yun Chujio also felt that it was a little eye-catching to drive a flying spirit tool. Therefore, after leaving the Blazing Sky Wasteland, she came to a small city called the Blazing Sky City. She was prepared to take a flying spirit tool that was specially designed to carry passengers to the River of Forgetfulness City. Yun Chujio had always been pretending to be a pig to eat a tiger, so she had adjusted her spiritual power to the 8th level of the spirit sect. The clothes that Yun Chujio was wearing were female clothes that she had found from the storage ring of the Dark Nether Hall's secret guard who had been killed. Therefore, she was no different from the locals. In addition, she only looked delicate and pretty, so she did not encounter any trouble. Through asking around, she found a trading firm that specialized in carrying passengers. Coincidentally, there was a flying spirit tool that was flying to River of Forgetfulness that afternoon. Yoon Chujo took out the nether stone, bought a ticket, and left the trading firm. There was still more than 2 hours before the flight. This fellow had a big heart. He strolled around the small city and bought a lot of food before returning to the trading firm. There were already some cultivators gathered in the trading firm. There were men, women, old and young. Yoon Chujo felt like she was waiting for a plane at the airport in her previous life, and she thought of Yoon Chi again. Chi, I don't know if you will also transmigrate. If you don't come over now, Woo Jae's head will probably be forced by his father to get married successfully. Just as Yoon Chujia's thoughts were running wild, a large flying spirit tool appeared on the street. Everyone used the token of the trading firm to board the flying spirit tool one after another. Yoon Chujo bought a ticket to the hall. It was not that she did not have the Netherworld stone, but that she was prepared to inquire about some news in the hall. A place with a lot of people would have gossip. Perhaps she would be able to hear some useful news. The hall was mostly filled with cultivators who did not have much money on hand. Most of them were men. Yoon Chujo caught a glimpse of a middle-aged woman with a little boy, so she sat next to her. Yoon Chujo wanted to be close to the woman, so she took out some snacks that she bought in Skyburn City and gave them to the little boy. The woman rejected them a few times, but when she saw that Yoon Chujo was sincere, she accepted them. After a while, the two of them started chatting. "Little girl, what's your name?" "Aunt, my name is Lin Chujo." Yoon Chujo remembered that her adoptive mother had once named her Lin Byun, so she gave herself such a fake name. "So it's Miss Chu Chu. My husband's family name is He. You can call me Auntie He. Where are you going?" The woman asked. This kind of flying spirit tool that carried passengers would pass through many towns on the way, which was why the woman asked this question. "Auntie He, am going to forget Chuan City," Yoon Chujo said with a smile. Although her appearance after the disguise was ordinary, her smile was very pleasing. "That's really a coincidence. The two of us are also going back to the River of Forgetfulness City." Yoon Chujia's heart moved. She said go back, which meant that she was originally from the River of Forgetfulness City. That's not bad. I can take the opportunity to learn some things about the River of Forgetfulness City. "Aunt He, so you're from the River of Forgetfulness City? That's great. I haven't been to the River of Forgetfulness City before." "Miss Chu Chu, are you also going to the Netherworld Palace to participate in the election?" "I'm a straightforward person, don't be unhappy. Your looks are too ordinary. I'm afraid you won't be chosen by the saint," the woman said straightforwardly. Shang Envy's words were straightforward. Yoon Chujo was stunned. To the Netherworld Palace? Shang Envy? What did that mean? Although Yoon Chujo was confused, she did not show it on her face. She said with a little disappointment, "Aunt, you are right. My appearance is indeed a little ordinary." The woman saw that Yoon Chujo was a little disappointed and immediately felt a little guilty. She immediately added, "Miss Chujo, my mouth is not good. Don't take it to heart. Maybe Shang Envy is not looking at my appearance." The woman continued to babble on and on. Yoon Chujo also understood the general situation. A few days ago, the Netherworld Palace suddenly posted a notice. The gist was that the saintess felt that she was not feeling well and wanted to choose a successor. This was because the saintess was the successor of Shang Envy. All unmarried women under the age of 25 on the Netherworld continent could participate in the registration. After 3 rounds of testing, 3 winners would be selected. Then, the saintess would choose one to be the successor to Shang Envy. Yoon Chujo could not help but feel puzzled. This was a good opportunity to enter the Netherworld Hall. Why didn't the Gigolo's insider tell him? In fact, the insider had really reported this matter to D. Biming, but D. Biming felt that it would be easy to be exposed if he went in like this. He might as well go in as a maid and slowly plan it out. Therefore, he did not tell Yoon Chujo about the selection of the saintess. Yoon Chujo felt that this opportunity was very good. As long as she became one of the 3 victors, she would have a direct chance to meet the Shang NV. If she became the successor, then it would be even more awesome. Damn it, at that time she would be able to directly rule the Netherworld continent. Whoever was unconvinced would be killed. Haha. Just thinking about it was very wonderful. This fellow did not even think about how many young girls there were in the entire Netherworld continent. With her current appearance and spiritual power, how could she possibly win? Alright, this fellow had this kind of mysterious confidence. It was a 2-day and 2-night journey from Sky Burning City to Forgetchuan City. In the middle, there were new passengers coming up one after another. Moreover, most of them were young girls. It was likely that they were all going to participate in the selection for the successor of Shang NV. There was a limited number of private rooms for flying spirit tools. Although some young girls had money, they could only come to the main hall. Thus, all sorts of disapproving voices came out. TSK. You even said that this River of Forgetfulness Trading Company's flying spirit tool is so high-end. I didn't expect that there would only be a few private rooms. If I had known earlier, I would have asked my father to give me a flying spirit tool. That's right. The smell here is really unpleasant. If it wasn't for the safety of the River of Forgetfulness Trading Company's flying spirit tool, I wouldn't have suffered like this. Forget it, bear with it. Anyway, we will arrive at River of Forgetfulness City tomorrow morning. Yun Chuzhou secretly curled her lips. How could such a brainless person participate in the selection of Shang NV? Unless the judges of the Netherworld Hall were blind. Just as Yun Chuzhou was complaining, someone walked up to her and said, "Hey, the 3 of you sit over there. We want this place." Yun Chuzhou looked up and saw a few arrogant women standing in front of her. The one who spoke was a woman with slender phoenix eyes. She was really not bad looking, but her tone was really not that good. She was bossy, it was as if she was instructing a servant. The middle-aged woman saw that although these young women were not willing to be overbearing, they did not want to cause trouble. She said to Yun Chuzhou, "Miss Chuzhou, since they like this place, let them have it. Let's go over there." Yun Chuzhou looked at the place that the woman pointed to. There were a few men sitting there shouting and shouting. Naturally, it was not as quiet as this place, hence, Yun Chuzhou said faintly, "And if there is anyone who comes first and comes later, let's sit here. It's still quieter here so that Little Rock can sleep well at night." This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. Little Rock was the little boy. The woman hesitated when she heard Yun Chuzhou's words. It was indeed too noisy over there. It was not easy for the child to fall asleep at night, so the woman did not move. The few girls were unhappy when they saw that Yun Chuzhou and the woman did not move. One of the girls in red raised her voice and said, "Are you deaf? Get out of the way or I won't be polite anymore. Jinji, you need to change your bad temper. Are they worth it? Get out of the way, these nether stones are yours." A girl in pink said and threw more than 10 nether stones on the ground. Yun Chuzhou's heart was burning with anger. She said calmly, "Sorry, we don't want to change the place. You can find someone else to change it." The young girl named Jinji was immediately angry. "Qinglan, people like this are shameless. They will behave after a beating. Ugly freak, are you going to let them go or not?" The woman saw that the matter had become a bit serious, so she quickly grabbed Yun Chuzhou's arm and said, "Miss Chuzhou, let's go over there." Yun Chuzhou's short temper was naturally not something she was willing to endure. However, when she thought of the purpose of this visit, she decided to endure for a while, so she found another place to sit with the woman. When Jinji saw that Yun Chuzhou and the others had retreated, she could not help but feel very proud. She said to the other young ladies, "TSK, some people have to be taught a lesson. We might become Shang NV in the future. If you dare to offend us, you are courting death." Qinglan smiled. "You are really not shy. There are many people participating in the Shang NV selection. Are you that confident?" Jinji said arrogantly. The selection of Shang NV is nothing more than family background, looks and spiritual power. All of us are top-notch. Of course the chances are higher. The only thing I miscalculated was that I should have taken the family's flying spiritual tool. But my father said that Vice Palace Master Lu doesn't like to show off extravagantly, so he insisted that I take this broken spiritual tool. And he didn't even allow me to bring a maid. That's right. My father said the same thing. This broken spirit tool is really suffering. Qinglan said with a faint smile, forget it. Since I'm already on it, besides, the River of Forgetfulness Trading Company's flying spirit tool is the safest. The elders will also feel more at ease. Yun Chujia's eyes flickered slightly, and she snorted coldly in her heart. These people are really naive. The successor of the Saintess was only a puppet. How could that old bastard, Vice Palace Master Lu, choose a woman with a good family background? If the chosen one had a good family background, how could he control it? Moreover, he wouldn't want someone with too much spiritual power, because those with too much talent would easily get out of his control. Therefore, she still had a very high chance of being chosen. The only thing that was lacking now was that her appearance was too ordinary. However, this young lady had a magical makeup technique. She would definitely be able to turn something rotten into something magical, little bastards. Just you wait to be abused. The woman softly consoled Miss Chu Chu. Bear with it for a while. These few young ladies clearly have extraordinary family backgrounds. There's no need for us to cause trouble. Yun Chujiu nodded. However, she thought in her heart that it was not too late for little Jiu to take revenge. It would be fine if there was no chance, but if there was a chance, she would see how she would deal with these little bitches. A day later, the flying spirit tool arrived at the River of Forgetfulness Trading Company in River of Forgetfulness City. Everyone disembarked from the flying spirit tool one after another. After Yun Chujiu and the woman parted ways, they headed to the Light Wind Inn, where the Temple of Immortals had secretly met up. Yun Chujiu could not help but curse inwardly. The pretty boy's family really liked the word wind very much. It was fine if the name of the secret guard carried wind, but even if they built an inn, it would still belong to the wind generation. This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. Yun Chujiu walked into the Light Breeze Inn and spoke in the code that they had agreed on beforehand. After that, the chubby manager Yuan brought Yun Chujiu to a superior room. Yun Chujiu looked at manager Yuan's figure, and could not help but be secretly happy. This manager Yuan's surname and his figure really matched each other. They were both round and round. Your subordinate greets the 9th miss. Shopkeeper Yuan knelt down and saluted. Get up. I want to participate in the selection of the successor of the Shang NV. You must immediately help me get an identity. The background must be ordinary, and it would be best if it's an orphan girl who doesn't have any relatives. Oh right, my name is Lin Chu Chu now. From now on you can call me Miss Lin or Miss Chu Chu. Yes, Miss Lin. Shopkeeper Yuan felt that Yun Chujiu would be very difficult to be selected. However, even though he was far away in the Netherworld continent and had heard of the great achievements of this 9th miss, he did not dare to look down on her at all. Moreover, this little girl was really too bold. Just her courage alone was enough to make people admire her. The old man of the Heaven Lake was also staying at the Light Breeze Inn. Therefore, after Yun Chujiu gave shopkeeper Yuan instructions, she went to see the old man of the Heaven Lake. Yun Chujiu told the old man of the Heaven Lake about her idea. The old man of the Heaven Lake felt that this idea was not bad. However, he still reminded her, little girl, safety is the most important thing. It doesn't matter if you can't be chosen. When the time comes, you can think of another way to sneak in. So don't force yourself. Yun Chujiu nodded. Uncle Master, don't worry. I cherish my life the most. Moreover, it's just the selection of the Shang NV. There won't be any danger. Many of the young girls participating in the selection are from big families. The Netherworld Hall won't let the participants' lives be in danger. The old man of the Heaven Lake nodded. Then, he said in a low voice, what you said is not without reason. Vice Palace Master Lu wants to find an obedient puppet, so it is not bad for you to have the identity of an orphan girl. Moreover, your spiritual power is also low. It is just that your current appearance is still a little lacking. Yun Chujo smiled slyly. This is easy to handle. I have a magical makeup technique. When I sign up tomorrow, I will dress up properly. I will definitely pass the test. The old man of the heavenly lake was skeptical. He gave a few more instructions before Yun Chujo returned to her room. Yun Chujo thought for a moment. She had to go buy some makeup powder. Thus, she left the breeze in and walked toward the street where the shops in the river of forgetfulness were most concentrated. Soon, Yun Chujo found a shop that sold makeup powder and walked in. Although the shop assistant saw that Yun Chujo was wearing ordinary clothes, his attitude was not bad. He helped Yun Chujo introduce the rouge and cosmetics in the shop. While Yun Chujo was choosing, someone said disdainfully, "Qing Lan, some people really overestimate themselves. The things in Fragrant Snow House are not something ordinary people can afford. Buddy, don't waste your energy. That poor girl can't afford the things here." Yun Chujo turned around and the one who spoke was Jinji. It was really a narrow road for enemies. Jinji, Qinglan, and a few others also came to choose blusher. Yun Chujo ignored her and said to the waiter, this, that, and the few things over there. Give me 5 of each. The waiter was overjoyed. This girl might not be able to see through it, but she was really generous. This was something that several customers had bought. He quickly said, "Miss, please wait a moment. I will help you pack your things." "Waiter, you'd better let her pay first. Otherwise, you'll be wasting your joy." Jinji pursed her lips. In her heart, she was sure that Yun Chujo was pretending to be fat. This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. The waiter could not help but hesitate when he heard Jinji's words. These rouge powder would cost at least tens of thousands of netherstones in total. That lady was wearing average clothes, so how could she take it out? Jinji saw that the waiter's hand movements had become slower. She looked at Yun Chujo with disdain. "Ugly freak. Do you think this is a place where you can come? Can you afford it? Besides, with your ugly appearance, do you deserve such good rouge powder?" Yun Chujo still ignored him and said to the waiter, "Just pack it up. I'm not short of money." The waiter thought that at worst it would be a waste of time. What if this girl was really rich? This was a big deal, so he quickly packed the few things that Yun Chujo asked for. After the waiter packed the things, he said to Yun Chujo, "Miss, please follow me here to settle the bill." The cashier quickly calculated the price. "Miss, a total of 12,500 netherworld stones." Jinji's face was full of pride. "Pretend? Let's see how you pretend this time." The other girls also had gloating expressions. This poor girl definitely wouldn't be able to take out so many netherworld stones. Let's see what she can do. The waiter also looked at Yun Chujo with a perturbed expression. He prayed in his heart, hoping that Yun Chujo could afford it. Yun Chujo frowned. "More than 10,000 nether stones? Did you calculate correctly?" Jinji immediately burst out laughing. "TSK, do you think this is a rundown shop in your countryside? The things here are of course very expensive. People have to know their own worth. You are clearly a poor person, yet you still dare to come to the Fragrant Snow House. You are really asking for humiliation." The other girls also burst out laughing. Their words were nothing but mockery and disdain. The waiter sighed with a sad face. It was really a waste of time. Unexpectedly, Yun Chujo continued, "I thought the things from the Fragrant Snow House were very, very expensive. I didn't expect it to be so economical. I will transfer the nether stone to you now." After saying that, Yun Chujo transferred the nether stone to the cashier. The cashier's old face immediately smiled like a flower. "Thank you for your patronage, miss. Xiao Shan, quickly hand the thing to this miss and give it away." The waiter also turned from worry to joy. He eagerly handed the big and small bags to Yun Chujo. "Miss, you are welcome to patronize me again in the future. Take care. This 100 nether stones is for you. Miss, what I don't lack the most is money." Yun Chujo gave the waiter a tip of 100 nether stones. Then she strolled out of Fragrant Snow House without saying a word to Jinji. Jinji's face was flushed red. Although Yoon Chujo didn't say anything, her face was smacked so hard that she wished she could find a hole to hide in. Although the waiter and the cashier didn't say anything, Jinji felt that they were all laughing at her. She stomped her feet and said, "I'm not buying anymore. Let's go." The other girls also felt embarrassed. They followed Jinji out of the fragrant snow house and discussed animatedly, "I didn't expect that ugly freak to actually have so many netherworld stones on her. Truly detestable." "That's right, but I reckon she's just trying to make herself look fat. Maybe she spent all those netherworld stones just to compete with us. Quick, look. Isn't that ugly freak inside the brocade garden? She actually went to buy clothes again. Brocade Garden's clothes aren't cheap. Could it be that she still has money?" A girl pointed at a shop not far away and said. Jinji looked in the direction the girl was pointing and saw the poor girl picking out ready-made clothes. She gritted her teeth and said, "Let's go and take a look." Qinglan gently advised Jinji, "Why bother with a poor girl who can't stand up to the public? Let's go somewhere else." Jinji coldly snorted, "Qinglan, I can't take this lying down. I must find my way back." Qinglan tried to persuade her, but seeing Jinji insist, she could only follow her to Jin Xian. A round-faced waiter of Jin Xian was introducing a ready-made dress to Yoon Chujo. "Miss, this misty hibiscus dress is not only exquisite in material, but also has a certain defensive function. You will definitely look very beautiful in it." Yoon Chujo nodded slightly. "It looks good. Wrap it up." The round-faced waiter was about to say something when he heard Jinji say disdainfully, "Beautiful and moving? No matter how well-dressed this ugly person is, she's still ugly. Besides, can you afford it?" Another fat waiter in the shop quickly came over and said, "Ladies, do you want to buy clothes? Please follow me. I'll introduce you to them." Jinji snorted coldly. "No need for introductions. I want this misty hibiscus dress." The round-faced man hurriedly said, "Miss, this misty hibiscus dress has already been bought by this miss. Please choose another one." Jinji snorted coldly. "Bought? Didn't she not pay the money? What's the point of buying if she didn't pay the money? I'll give you double the price. Wrap this dress up for me." The round-faced man was in a difficult position. The fat man pushed the round-faced man aside and said with a flattering face, "Of course, the one with the highest price will get it. Miss, please follow me to pay the money." Jinji arrogantly followed the fat man to pay the money. She took the wrapped clothes and said arrogantly, "If you don't have money, don't pretend to be fat. You bought a lot of rouge and powder, but you don't have money to buy clothes. How pitiful. I'm kind enough to tell you that there are a few shops in the north of the city that sell worthless junk. You can go there to buy one." Yoon Chujo still ignored her and said to the round-faced man, "That purple one is not bad. Wrap that one up for me." The round-faced man felt a little guilty because of what happened just now. When he saw Yoon Chujo say that, he immediately said, "Miss, wait a moment. I'll wrap it up for you right now." "Wait. I want this one too. Double the price." Jinji said arrogantly. The fat guy immediately said obsequiously, "Okay. I'll wrap it for you." The round-faced guy was obviously bullied by the fat guy. The fat guy pushed him away and wrapped the purple dress that Yoon Chujo pointed at for Jinji. Jinji had just paid the money when she heard Yoon Chujo say, "Buddy, wrap that lake blue dress for me. I want that one too. Double the price." "Buddy, wrap up that tender yellow one for me. I want it. Double it." "Buddy, wrap up that crimson one for me. I want it. Double it." Yoon Chujo pointed at a piece of Jinji and bought it for double the price. At first, Qinglan and the others were excited to see Yoon Chujo make a fool of herself, but they realized that the matter had blown up. Jinji bought a total of 40 to 50 pieces of clothes in one go, and she even bought them for double the price. This was not a small amount. Yoon Chujo sighed, "Since the good-looking ones have been bought by others, I can only not buy them. However, some people won't just be generous in words but in fact they can't afford it, right? Jinji snorted. Do you think I'm as poor as you? Buddy, how much is it? Miss, it's 523,428 pieces of nether stones. I'll make the decision to erase the change for you. You just have to pay 523,400 pieces of nether stones. The fat guy laughed so hard that he couldn't close his mouth. The shopkeeper knew that I sold so many pieces of clothes, so he must have given me a lot of money as a reward. I'm rich. Jinji shouted in surprise. What? 520,000? Why is it so much? The round-faced waiter smiled apologetically and said, Miss, the clothes you chose are all the best products of our shop, and they are double the price. So the total is this money. If you are worried, you can calculate it yourself. Jinji was also competing with Yunchujo just now. She had never calculated how much these clothes cost. Now she was a little dumbfounded. Although she had a lot of nether stones on her, she could not use them all to buy clothes. There were many places that needed money in the future. You don't have the money to pay the bill? That's good. Which one cannot be bought by you? I can buy it now. Yunchujo said with a smile. Jinji gritted her teeth. Who says I can't afford it? Pack it up for me. I'll transfer the money right away. The fat waiter was naturally eager to buy it. He said flattery and packed up the clothes and handed them over to Jinji. Jinji endured the pain and paid the money. She was in no mood to stay any longer. She glared at Yunchujo fiercely and then left. Qinglong glanced at Yunchujo a few times before she left. She didn't expect this poor girl to be so scheming. She had made that idiot Jinji suffer. Seeing that Jinji and the others had left, Yunchujo pointed at a black and a white dress with a smile and said, Buddy, I'll take these 2 sets. The round-faced worker was already feeling a little guilty. Seeing that Yunchujo had picked 2 more pieces, he quickly wrapped them up for her. The fat worker who was arranging the cloth curled his lips and said, You don't have the slightest insight. Can such a person afford it? You're really blind. The round-faced waiter did not say anything. After wrapping the clothes, he brought Yunchujo to pay the bill. Yunchujo gently pushed the fat waiter with her hand. Excuse me. The fat waiter pouted and moved to the side. He muttered, You really put on a good show. It would be strange if you could afford it. Unexpectedly, Yunchujo not only transferred the netherstone to the cashier, but also said to the round-faced waiter, This is 500 netherstones as a reward for you. Stick to your heart. You will become a very good businessman in the future. The round-faced man was stunned at first. Then he nodded excitedly. Thank you for your advice, miss. Yunchujo looked at the fat man coldly again. The fat man felt a chill on his body and his legs could not help but feel weak. Just when he thought that Yunchujo was going to kill him, he heard Yunchujo chuckle. She left. The fat man wiped the cold sweat off his forehead and spat. He cursed, Bah. She's just a poor girl. Why are you pretending? Before the fat man could finish his sentence, he suddenly screamed, Ah, it hurts. Help. It hurts. The fat man rolled on the ground in pain. Just when he was about to look for the doctor to take a look, the pain miraculously disappeared. He was a little scared. Did I get my retribution for looking at others? Yunchujo faintly heard the fat waiter's miserable howl and curled her lips. If I wasn't afraid of stirring up trouble, I wouldn't have let you off so easily. Yunchujo bought a lot of delicious food before returning to the Long Wind Inn. Yunchujo found the Old Man of the Heaven Lake, and gave some of the food she bought back to the Old Man of the Heaven Lake. After she had a good impression of him, she returned to her room. After Yunchujo returned to the house, she took out the rouge powder she had bought and began to fiddle with it on her face. After repeating it a few times, she finally got a satisfactory result. Only then did she wash up and rest in satisfaction. The next morning, after breakfast, the Old Man of the Heaven Lake was reading in the house when he heard Yunchujo say from outside, Uncle Master, can I go in? Come in. The old man thought to himself, what was this little girl doing here so early in the morning? Didn't she say that she was going to register today? Uncle Master, What do you think of my new clothes? The old man raised his head and was stunned. In front of him was a young girl dressed in white. Her facial features were exquisite, and she had an otherworldly aura. However, the young girl smiled. However, there was a hint of cuteness and liveliness in her smile. Little Gio? The Heaven Lake old man asked with some uncertainty. Uncle Master, my makeup skills are not bad, right? Do I have a good chance of passing the selection this time? Yun Chujia's voice also changed slightly. It was crisp with a hint of softness. Little Gio, you have such a magical method. Why did you ask me for a disguise pill? The Heaven Lake old man said after a moment of surprise. Uncle Master, you don't know this. Firstly, my makeup technique is doomed if it meets with water. Secondly, if you look carefully, you can see my original facial features, so you can only deal with it temporarily. It's better if you have a disguise pill. The old man from the Heaven Lake looked carefully and found that Yun Chujia's so-called makeup technique was to make the color of her skin whiter and more transparent. Her eyes were bigger, and her nose was firmer. Nothing else seemed to have changed. This makeup technique was really magical. The Heaven Lake nodded. With your current appearance, you are indeed more confident. However, don't take your guard down. Safety first. While the two were talking, shopkeeper Yuan requested to see him outside. After shopkeeper Yuan entered, he was shocked. He thought to himself, this ninth miss is really omnipotent. Has she changed her face? Manager Yuan calmed down and said, Miss Chujio, your identity has been fixed. Please take a look. Yun Chujio took it and took a look. Her new identity was an orphan girl in a small town not far from Burning Sky City. Her surname was also Lin and her name was Linine. Her parents passed away due to illness when she was 10 years old. Linine went missing after that. Yes, that's right. This name was changed to Lin Chujio after a huge change in the family. However, this Linine wouldn't suddenly appear, right? Yun Chujio felt that this identity was not bad. Miss Chujio, don't worry. Our men accidentally saved this Linine, so we know about this situation. But later on, this Linine died in an accident, so there won't be any problems. As for her appearance, it's 50 to 60% similar to yours. Plus, she has changed 18 times since she was a girl, so the people in the town can't tell whether it's real or fake. This information was previously investigated by us, including the appearance of her parents. As long as you know it, it's fine, Manager Yuan said with certainty. Yun Chujio nodded her head in satisfaction. The pretty boy's subordinates were still very reliable. After all the preparations were done, Yun Chujio decided to go to the Netherworld Palace to register. The Netherworld Palace was more than 50 miles away from the River of Forgetfulness City, so Yun Chujio naturally could not use the chopping board. Therefore, this guy rented a Netherworld Windblade donkey from the carriage store in the River of Forgetfulness City, and rode the donkey leisurely out of the River of Forgetfulness City. In the sky, young girls riding swords kept passing by. On the ground, there were also many young girls riding spirit beasts, but the only one riding a donkey was a weirdo like Yun Chujio. When Yun Chujio heard those sneers, she didn't think much of it. TSK, a bunch of ignorant fools. Many unworldly experts rode little donkeys, such as Zhang Guilong, Guoxiang, and Afanti. Although the Netherworld Windblade donkey looked a little rustic, its speed was still quite fast. Very soon, Yun Chujio arrived at the registration place. Yun Chujio was not worried that someone would steal such a low-level demon beast, so she found a tree, tied the donkey, and walked to the queue to register. The registration place could be described as a sea of people. After all, the saintess of the Netherworld Palace was of a relatively holy status. To be able to become a saintess was like ascending to the heavens in one step, and it could also bring huge benefits to the family. Therefore, almost all the girls who met the requirements came to register. Although there were many people, there were also many disciples of the Netherworld Hall who were in charge of accepting the registration. Therefore, the speed was not bad. Yun Chujio randomly picked a team to stand at the end of the line. The registration was obviously a preliminary screening. Some of the applicants with average looks were directly rejected. Yoon Chujio could not help but feel lucky. Fortunately, I modified it a little. Otherwise, it would be easy for it to be rejected. After more than an hour, it was finally Yoon Chujio's turn. The disciple in charge of the registration looked at Yoon Chujio and felt that her appearance was not bad. Then he handed Yoon Chujio a form. Fill out this form and receive the registration jade token. Yoon Chujio was filling out the form when she heard someone exclaim, "It's you! Why did you change your appearance?" Yoon Chujio looked up and saw that the person who spoke was Jinji. Jinji had already finished signing up, but they were about to see if there was anyone who posed a threat to them when someone noticed Yoon Chujio. "Look, that person is not bad looking and the clothes he is wearing are of high quality. I wonder what kind of background he has." A young girl pointed at Yoon Chujio and said. Therefore, Jinji curiously walked to Yoon Chujio's side. She wanted to see how she filled in the registration form. When she saw the words Lin Chujio on it, she immediately exploded. Yoon Chujio ignored her and slowly filled in the form and handed it to the disciple in charge. The disciple was about to hand the jade token to Yoon Chujio. Jinji said loudly, "This ugly freak cheated. She doesn't look like this at all." Jinji's words immediately attracted the attention of many people. The disciple in charge of distributing the jade token frowned. "Miss, what do you mean by this?" Jinji glanced at Yoon Chujio with disdain and said, "This Lin Chujio originally didn't look good. I don't know what method she used to become like this. She cheated. She should be disqualified from the selection." The disciple looked at Yoon Chujio's appearance carefully and said in confusion, "There is nothing wrong with this young lady's appearance. Humph." You let her wash her face so that you can see her original appearance. An ugly monster actually dares to dream of being the successor of the Shang'en. It's simply wishful thinking. Jinji thought of the more than 500,000 netherstones yesterday. She simply hated Yoon Chujio to death. Yoon Chujio looked at that disciple and smiled faintly. "Manager, is there a rule that forbids wearing rouge and powder in the registration rules?" That disciple was addressed as manager by Yoon Chujio, and his heart was very firm. Compared to Jinji's arrogant appearance, his heart was biased towards Yoon Chujio. He replied, "There isn't such a rule. Wouldn't it be normal for a girl to wear rouge and powder? This is your jade token. Please take it." Next, Yoon Chujio reached out and took the registration jade token from her disciple. After thanking her, she prepared to leave. She did not expect Jinji to be so anxious. She took out a basin of water from her storage ring and threw it at Yoon Chujio. Jinji thought to herself, "Ugly freak. I'll show you your true form now." Unexpectedly, an oil paper umbrella appeared in Yoon Chujio's hand. Yoon Chujio was completely fine. However, water was splashed all over the place. Some of the water splashed onto some of the applicants. Those people had dressed up meticulously. Although it was not a big deal to be splashed with some water droplets, they were naturally very unhappy. One after another they cried out, "Really? Some people just have nothing to do, just like how she did not dress up. I think she is jealous of that lattice beauty." That's right. The disciple in charge of the registration did not say anything, but she went to find fault with her son who owes her. One look and you can tell that she is looking for trouble for no reason. "Shoo! Lower your voice. I know that lady. I heard that she is the granddaughter of the Jean family head. She is not someone we can provoke. No wonder she's so overbearing. So she has a background. That girl is really unlucky. I wonder how she offended her?" Jinji's face turned red with anger. These idiots actually spoke up for this ugly freak. Moreover, even if this ugly freak was in this state, she was still far inferior to her. How could she be jealous of her? Yoon Chujio glanced at Jinji with a faint smile and turned around to leave. Jinji stomped her feet angrily. For some reason, Jinji had a feeling that this Lin Chujio would become an obstacle for her. However, she thought to herself, "Ugly freak. So what if you have registered your name? I saw that you wrote orphan just now. How can a poor person like you compete with me? This is simply a dream." Just as Jinji was thinking about it, she saw Yun Chujo riding on a small donkey and leaving leisurely. She immediately laughed out loud. What a country bumpkin. He actually rode a donkey to come here. Such a poor person was nothing to be afraid of. 2 days later, the first round of the test began. This time, Yun Chujo did not ride a donkey. Instead, she hired a horse carriage and strolled to the Netherworld Palace. The girls who participated in the selection of the successor of Shang Envi were divided into 10 groups. Yun Chujo glanced at them. Jinji and the others were not in the same group as her, which saved her a lot of trouble. Yun Chuji's group was brought to a room. The one who brought them in was a maid. The maid sized them up and said, "Wait here. We will test you later." At first they were still waiting patiently, but after 2 hours there was still no sign of them. They were a little uncertain. What's going on? Could it be that they left us here and no one cared? Yeah, or did they forget about our group? This is too much. Maybe the other groups have finished their tests. We're really unlucky. As time passed, more and more people started discussing. Many people started discussing in 2s and 3s. Some people simply ran to the door to take a look. After another 2 hours, even more people could not hold it in anymore. Not only did they discuss in hushed voices, they even started to complain even louder. At this moment, a middle-aged female steward walked in, followed by 2 maids. Among them was the maid who had brought them in earlier. When the young ladies saw that someone had entered, they immediately regained their bearings. They thought to themselves, the test is finally about to begin. What a waste of time. One of the maids took out a list and read, Yu Shujing, Shen Zimo, Li Chanqian, Ning Xiner, Lin Chuchu, and Mo Wanwan. The above 20 people have passed the first round of the test. The rest will be eliminated. As soon as the maid finished speaking, the girls exploded. What? Didn't the test not start yet? How did the test results come out already? Could it be that it was all predetermined? Are you playing with us? We are not convinced. There is actually a conspiracy behind the selection of Shang Envi. This is too much. The middle-aged female steward snorted coldly. The first round of the test is to test your temperament. As a saintess, the most important thing is that you have a calm temperament. You don't care about the good things and don't care about the bad things. Shang Envi, look at you just now. It was only 4 hours, but you were so anxious that you were like ants on a hot pot. How can you become saintesses with your temperament? Some young girls said unwillingly, that's not fair. We didn't even know that the test had begun. If we knew, we wouldn't be anxious even if it was 10 hours, let alone 4 hours. Yeah, it's not strange if we didn't know. We didn't even know that the test had started. Yeah, give us another chance. The middle-aged female manager snorted coldly. As a saintess, you have to remember your identity as a saintess at all times. How could you inform Shang Envi in advance? Moreover, there were countless unexpected situations that the saintess encountered. Would there be a chance to do it all over again? There's no need to say more. All of you have been eliminated. Leave quickly or I'll have the guards kick you out. Those young girls did not dare to say anything more and left with desolate expressions. Yun Chujo cursed in her heart. Bah! What bullshit attitude. This was to keep those who were obedient and eliminate those who were disobedient. They had to choose a puppet. The middle-aged female manager glanced at the remaining 20 people. Lung Ning said, from now on, you will call me Zhao Mama. From now on, I will train all of you together. The assessment will take place in 10 days. Those who pass will enter the second round of the assessment. The rest will be eliminated. Yun Chujo was stunned. They were going to train and then take the assessment? What was going on? Zhao Mama continued, you will be divided into 5 groups. 4 people will form a group. The test in 10 days will be conducted in groups. Only 1 group will pass the test. Therefore, grouping is very important to you. You can choose freely. If you still haven't decided after 15 minutes, I will randomly divide you into groups. Hearing this, the girls quickly started to look for companions. Naturally, Girls with high spiritual power and good family backgrounds were in demand. Perhaps the second round of the test was to test spiritual power, so it would be easier for people with high spiritual power to pass the test. Most of the people here were around the third level of the spiritual saint realm. Yun Chujo disguised herself as someone at the 8th level of the spiritual sect, so it was naturally not enough. Therefore no one chose her at all. Yun Chujo was not in a hurry. In any case, there would always be 3 people left among the 20 people who were in the same group as her, so she just had to wait. 15 minutes later, 4 groups had been formed freely. They looked like they were laughing and laughing. There were only 4 people left, and one of them was Yun Chujo. Zhao Mama pointed at the remaining 4 people. Mo Wanwan, Lin Chuchu, Lu Qin, and Zhou Han. You 4 are in a group. Yun Chujo looked at the other 3 pitiful people who shared the same fate. As expected, they all had low spiritual power, and their family backgrounds were probably not that great. Otherwise, they would not have been left behind. The 5 groups were named after metal, wood, water, fire, and earth. Yun Chujia's group was sadly named the Group of Earth. After Zhao Mama explained the rules, she said to the 2 maids beside her, Ru Shuang Rui, take them to the dormitory. The 2 maids brought Yun Chujo and the others around to a courtyard. The courtyard was very large. It was not an exaggeration to say that it was a palace. Other than a row of rooms, there was also a small square in the middle. It would not be a problem for hundreds of people to stand there. Yu Shuang said coldly, there are 6 dormitories here. The one in the middle is my room and Rui's room. You can choose the other 5. As for what method you used to choose, we don't care. We will gather here at midnight tomorrow. If you are late, you will be disqualified. After Yu Shuang said that, she entered the room in the middle with Rui. The girls looked at each other. Shen Zimo from the gold group said arrogantly, our gold group will choose the one in the east of the main house. You can choose the rest. After Shen Zimo said that, the 4 people from the gold group swaggered into the room. The 4 members of the gold group all had good family backgrounds, and their spiritual power was the highest, so they naturally had to choose the best one. Seeing this, Yu Shujing of the wood group hurriedly said, then well, choose the one on the west side of the main house. The water group and the fire group had also finished choosing, so there was no need to choose the earth group. There was only a room on the west side that couldn't be illuminated by the sun. It seemed to have been modified like a warehouse, and its size was much smaller than the other rooms. Yun Chujo did not care at all. She took the lead and walked to the room. The other 3 followed her into the room. The light in the room was indeed a little dim. There were only 4 lonely beds in the room. There was nothing else. Yun Chujo directly sat on the innermost bed. She took out a quilt from her storage ring and spread it out. Then she crossed her legs and lay on it. She held a script that she had just bought and started reading it. The other 3 people were clearly a little confused. Didn't Lin Chujo look like a refined fairy just now? Why did she look like a joke now? The 3 of them also found a bed and imitated Yun Chujo. They took out a blanket and laid it on the bed. They cultivated, washed up and washed up. Unexpectedly, none of them spoke to each other. As the sky gradually darkened, everyone remembered a crucial problem. Ru Shuang and Rui actually didn't tell them how to solve the problem of eating. Were they going to solve it themselves? Mo Wanwan pushed the door open and went out for a walk. When she returned, after a moment of silence, she said, I heard the discussions of the other teams. Some of them went to ask Rui and Ru Shuang. They said that in the future, they will only provide 1 lunch a day. Whether they can eat their fill will depend on their own abilities. After hearing Mo Wanwan's words, Lu Qin said in a low voice, the 4 of us have the lowest spiritual power. How can we compete with the other teams? Fortunately, I brought some dry rations. We won't be hungry. Zhou Han snorted coldly. It's not that we can compete just because we have high spiritual power. Let's see who can risk their lives more. The dumb are afraid of the unreasonable, and the unreasonable are afraid of the reckless. I don't believe that they can fight harder than me just for a mouthful of food. Yoon Chujia's words book almost fell to the ground. Damn, this Zhou was really a tough woman. This name also matched. Zhou Yinghan. Yoon Chujio could roughly tell the three people's personalities from their words. Emma Wanwan was clearly more active, while Lu Qin was the kind of person who cleaned up after herself and didn't like to meddle in other people's business. There was no need to mention Zhou Yinghan. She was a tough woman. Yoon Chujio blinked her eyes. Normally, cultivators would bring some food with them in their storage rings, but most of them were dry rations and the like. Naturally, they weren't as delicious as the food they cooked on the spot. Therefore, there would definitely be a good show to watch tomorrow at lunchtime. This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. Lu Qin took out a few steamed buns from her storage ring. After hesitating for a moment, she said, I have some steamed buns here. You guys can eat some first. Mo Wanwan and Zhou Yinghan declined tactfully. They also brought some steamed buns with them in their storage rings. It was enough to last them for 2 or 3 days. Cultivators usually brought a lot of water with them in their storage rings. However, they only brought a limited amount of dry rations. After all, demonic beasts were everywhere when they went out to train. They didn't have to worry about food at all. Moreover, they were here to participate in the selection of the successor of the Shang Envy. How could they have thought that they would not be given food? Of course, a pervert like Yoon Chujio was not an ordinary person. The food in her storage ring was more than enough to last 10 years, not to mention 10 days. Yoon Chujio was really mean. She knew that the three of them didn't bring much food, but she shamelessly asked each of them for a bun or steamed bun, and then began to eat happily. The other three people saw that Yoon Chujio could actually taste the delicacies of ordinary steamed buns, and could not help but have a huge appetite. However, the food in their storage rings was limited. They did not know what would happen the next day. Therefore, after everyone ate 2 buns, they stopped eating. After a long while, Yoon Chujio, who ate for free, ate the most. After dinner, they naturally had to wash up. There was a well in the southeast corner of the courtyard. Mo Wanwan and the other 2 brought water back to wash up. The well water was very cool. It was fine to use it to wash their faces, but it was too cold to wash their feet. When the 3 of them frowned slightly, they saw Yoon Chujio take out a big iron pot. Pour the water in. I'll boil some hot water for you, Yoon Chujio said with a smile. The 3 of them didn't understand, but they still poured the water into the big iron pot. Then they saw a big fireball appear in Yoon Chujio's hand. A moment later, the water in the big iron pot started to emit hot steam. Mo Wanwan and the other 2 were dumbfounded. Damn, the fire spirit root could be used in this way? However, Lin Chujio looked like a little fairy. What was the meaning of having a big iron pot in her storage ring? The 3 of them were slightly dissatisfied with Yoon Chujio because she was a freeloader. However, their dissatisfaction was gone. It was such a blissful thing to be able to wash up with hot water. After the 3 of them washed up, Yoon Chujio began to wash up. Mo Wanwan and the other 2 saw that the water in Yoon Chujio's basin quickly turned muddy. When they saw Yoon Chujio after wiping her face, the 3 of them almost cried out, "Oh my God! Is this Lin Chujio? How did she change from a little fairy into a little village girl after washing her face?" Yoon Chujio giggled. Are you guys very surprised? Don't worry, the little fairy will appear again tomorrow morning. The 3 of them looked at each other. Who was this joker? Return our little fairy. However, after the initial shock, the 3 of them realized that Lin Chujio had just washed off the rouge and powder on her face. However, such an ordinary face could actually be dressed up like an otherworldly fairy. This makeup technique was too heaven-defying, right? The 3 of them had the same thought in their minds. If they had this makeup technique, wouldn't their looks be even more beautiful and moving? Mo Wanwan was more outgoing and said directly, "Choo choo. This makeup technique of yours is really amazing. When you have time, can you help me put it on? Lu Qin and Zhou Yinghan also looked at Yun Chuzhou eagerly. Any woman's pursuit of beauty was endless. If they could make themselves more beautiful, why not give it a try? Yun Chuzhou giggled. Of course. When I have time, I'll help the three of you dress up properly. I guarantee that you'll be beautiful. Do you want to learn? I can teach you. In the future, you can transform yourselves. Mo Wanwan and the other two couldn't believe their ears. Shouldn't such a magical technique be a secret? Lin Chuchu was actually going to teach them? Now the three of them felt extremely ashamed. They had thought that Lin Chuchu was a freeloader, but they didn't expect her to not only help them boil hot water, but also selflessly teach them makeup techniques. Their previous thoughts were too one-sided. This Lin Chuzhou was really a kind and good girl. Yun Chuzhou looked at the three grateful lambs with a smile. Before fishing, she naturally had to give up some bait. The three mermaids were about to be caught. With makeup as a bridge of communication, the four of them quickly became familiar with each other. If they were not worried that they would not be able to get up the next day, they would definitely talk all night long. The next morning, Mo Wanwan and the other two got up one after another. Only Yun Chuzhou was still sleeping soundly. Chuchu, get up. Otherwise, you'll be late. Mo Wanwan shouted at Yun Chuzhou's bedside. Yun Chuzhou got up with a stomach full of anger. Mo Wanwan could sense the low pressure on Yun Chuzhou's body. She took a few steps back and said, Chuchu, get up quickly. You still have to put on makeup. Damn it. I have to get up early every day just to be beautiful. I'm so sleepy. Yun Chuzhou said through gritted teeth. Mo Wanwan and the other two chose to remain silent towards Yun Chuzhou, who swore. What little fairy was just a floating cloud? This guy was just a little rascal. Yun Chuzhou got up and washed up randomly. Then she took out bottles and cans and applied them. Mo Wanwan and the other two watched helplessly as Yun Chuzhou turned into a little fairy again. After Yun Chuzhou finished cooking, she looked at Mo Wanwan and the other two. Why aren't you eating breakfast? You might torture us later. We won't be able to bear it if we don't eat. The three of them only cared about watching Yun Chuzhou lose her temper. Only then did they remember about breakfast. They quickly took out steamed buns and started eating. Although they couldn't bear to, they still gave one to Yun Chuzhou. This fellow Yun Chuzhou shamelessly ate another free meal. She smacked her lips. For lunch we have to think of a way to get more. It's best if we bring out a portion of dinner and breakfast for tomorrow. I'm telling you, this might also be part of the assessment. Zhou Yinghan immediately said, Chuchu, you're right. The Netherworld Palace doesn't need this little bit of food from us. There must be something fishy going on here. Well, just fight for it with all our might at noon. Yun Chuzhou pointed at her own head. It's not worth it to fight with all our might for a meal. We have to use our brains to fight against them. All of you listen to me. I guarantee that we'll definitely reap a bountiful harvest. If Yun Chuzhou had said that after splitting up the group yesterday, the three of them would definitely not have bought it. However, Yun Chuzhou had already fed the bait to them, and they had agreed after a slight hesitation. Yun Chuzhou was secretly happy. As long as she fired the first shot, the three little sheep would listen to her in the future. Yun Chuzhou babbled her thoughts, and the corners of Mo Wanwan and the other two's eyes twitched. This guy was really too mean. However, this method was really good, and it would definitely succeed. This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. The four of them finished their discussion. Seeing that it was almost time, they left the house and went to the square. The other girls also came to the square one after another. They seemed to be much more familiar with each other than the day before. chattering nonstop with the group as a unit. When Zhao Mama came in from outside, she saw the girls chatting casually. Only the 4 members of the Earth group stood in a row with demure faces. Zhao Mama's eyes flashed. These 4 were not bad. They were obviously obedient. However, they were not obedient enough. If they were obedient fools, they would not be able to bear the responsibility of Shang Envy. Zhao Mama coughed twice and the girls quieted down. However, they still stood casually. Zhao Mama gave Rushuang a look. Rushuang said with a cold face, "You are here for the training, not to admire the flowers in the garden. Every row for people stand properly. Look at the Earth group and then look at you. What a disgrace." Yun Chujo cursed in her heart. This Rushuang must have done it on purpose. Wasn't this drawing hatred from them? But it was not a big deal. An outstanding person like her would sooner or later attract hatred. The other 4 groups of people, as expected, glared at Yun Chujo and the other 4 people, and then lined up. Zhao Mama glanced at the crowd with a gloomy face. "I don't care if you are the young ladies of the big families or the treasures of the family. In my eyes you are all the same candidates. If there are any who oppose me, I will directly disqualify her from the test. Each of you has 10 points. If you make a mistake once, I will deduct the corresponding points. If all 10 points are deducted, you will not be qualified to participate in the second round of the test. Do you understand?" "I understand," everyone replied. However, some people didn't think so. She was just a small steward. What could she do to us? Except for the Earth group, each person will be deducted 1 point, Zhao Mama said faintly. Immediately, someone protested. "Zhao Mama, you didn't say that we should form a team before. It's not strange if you don't know. Don't deduct our points this time, right?" "Zhao Mama, today is only the first day. We really don't know. We will pay attention next time." "That's right, Zhao Mama. Please show mercy." Zhao Mama didn't say a word until those people felt that something was wrong. Zhao Mama then said coldly, "Everyone who spoke just now will be deducted 1 point. From now on, during the training process, unless I let you speak, you are not allowed to speak. If you speak, 1 point will be deducted." Although the young girls were very resentful, they did not dare to say anything more. 2 points had been deducted on the first morning, and they might not even be qualified to participate in the second round of the test. This Zhao Mama was really abnormal. Yun Chujo was very used to it. This was far from the training of the special agents in her previous life. What was the point penalty? The punishment from the training in her previous life was simply torturous. She wished she could die immediately. Zhao Mama continued, "It'll give you 15 minutes. Each group will choose a team leader." Emma Wanwan and the other 2 said at the same time, "Chu Chu, you'll be the team leader." Yun Chujo was really looking forward to it. She pretended to decline a few sentences and then agreed to it. After Zhao Mama had Rushuang register the team leaders, then she changed the topic. "Today's training is very simple. You will maintain this posture for 4 hours. If there is any movement in the middle, 1 point will be deducted. If you cannot persist, you will be directly eliminated." Yun Chujo could not help but curse in her heart. Was she going to stand in a military posture? However, for cultivators, standing for 4 hours was not a problem. It was just that there might be some kind of trouble in the middle. The girls did not expect that the first day would be such a training content. Although they did not understand, they still stood obediently. Rushuang and Rui shouted from time to time, "Stand up straight. If you bend your waist, you will get a point deducted. Don't bend your legs. If you bend, you will get a point deducted. Put your hands on your sides. Don't move or you will get a point deducted." 2 hours later, no one moved and no points were deducted. Just when the girls felt that the content was too simple, Zhao Mama's lips curled into a cold smile. Zhao Mama raised her hand, and a cage appeared on the ground. Inside it were several golden spotted nether snakes. After those golden spotted nether snakes were released, they crawled toward the girls with their tongues sticking out. "Ah, snakes. The four girls standing at the front immediately cried out in surprise and subconsciously tried to dodge. Shen Zimo, Li Qianqian, Ning Xianer, and Lu Chuyue will be deducted 1 point each. Yu Shuang said coldly. The four girls were stunned at first, then they returned to their original positions with terrified expressions, afraid that they would get deducted points again. The golden-spotted nether snakes were crawling around under everyone's feet. Seeing this, the girls could only grit their teeth and stand in their original positions. They were certain that these snakes would not attack them. If anything happened to them, the Netherworld Hall would not be able to answer to their families. After 15 minutes, the golden-spotted nether snakes began to climb up the girls' legs. Immediately, some of them could not hold on any longer and started to pull the golden-spotted nether snakes down in fear, letting out cries of alarm. 1 point deducted from Yuan Xianyue. 1 point deducted from Bai Xian. 1 point deducted from Lu Qin. Those golden-spotted nether snakes should have been trained, so they only climbed onto the girls without hurting anyone. However, almost all the girls who were entangled by the golden-spotted nether snakes would be unable to control themselves and pull the snakes down. This thing was really too scary. The sound of points being deducted kept coming. Zhao Mama glanced at the forms on the Rui pair. Only one person had not been deducted points. Lin Chujiu? Zhao Mama looked at Yun Chujiu and saw a golden-spotted nether snake climb onto Yun Chujiu's shoe. However, a moment later, the golden-spotted nether snake retreated from Yun Chujiu's shoe. It turned around and climbed onto the leg of a girl in front of it. The girl immediately cried out in surprise. Zhao Mama could not help but be stunned when she saw this. She had Rui drive a golden-spotted nether snake towards Yun Chujiu. Soon, the golden-spotted nether snake also gave up and turned around to attack the other girls. Zhao Mama could not help but feel puzzled. When she wanted to drive the golden-spotted nether snake to climb towards Yun Chujiu again, for hours had passed. She had no choice but to drive the golden-spotted nether snake back into the cage. Zhao Mama glanced at everyone. Some people have already lost 4 points in half a day. If you guys are still like this, I believe that someone will be eliminated very soon. Rest for 1 hour and I'll give you guys lunch. We'll gather on time after 1 hour. When everyone heard Zhao Mama's announcement, they immediately began to use the cleaning spell. This golden-spotted nether snake was really too disgusting. Yun Chujiu was staring at the door. It was almost lunchtime and they were about to start fighting for food. Just thinking about it made her a little excited. As expected, soon a maid came to the door of the courtyard. Zhao Mama, I'm here to deliver lunch. Zhao Mama nodded slightly, indicating that the maid could come in. The maid walked to Zhao Mama's side and took out 2 large basins from her storage ring. One basin was filled with steaming stewed meat, and the other basin was filled with steamed buns. Although everyone already knew that this lunch was to be snatched, it was still too little. Not to mention 3 meals, even 1 meal might not be enough. Everyone was eager to try, but Zhao Mama did not say anything. They did not dare to rashly make a move. Moreover, steamed buns were easy to deal with. There was no spoon or anything like that for stewed meat. Finally, Zhao Mama said indifferently, "Let's eat." Just as everyone was about to start fighting, they heard a few people shouting loudly, "Look, what's that in the sky?" Everyone subconsciously looked up to the sky and found nothing. When they lowered their heads again, forget about the steamed buns and stew, there wasn't even a basin on the ground. Someone noticed the clues and immediately shouted angrily, "The food has been put into the storage ring by that Lin Chujiu." Everyone looked at Yun Chujiu angrily. When they thought about it again, they realized that the 3 people who had shouted earlier were the other 3 from the Earth group. They had done it on purpose. It was really too detestable. Lin Chujiu, hand over the food. Otherwise, don't blame us for being rude. The leader of the gold group, Shen Zimo, shouted loudly. The rest of the people also shouted, "That's right. Hurry up and hand it over. Otherwise, it'll teach you guys a lesson." Mo Wanwan and the rest looked at Yun Chujiu and thought to themselves, "I've already snatched all the food, but I've angered everyone. What should I do now? I've already provoked their jealousy and hatred in the morning, and now they hate us even more." Yun Chujiu blinked her eyes. I've indeed kept all the food, but am doing it for your own good. You're spouting nonsense. You obviously want to eat it all alone. Shinzimo said angrily. Don't be so agitated. I'm not stupid. If I eat alone, will you spare me? I'm really doing this for everyone's good. Think about it. There are only so many dishes in total, and we only have an hour to eat. If we fight, we won't have time to eat lunch at all. Why don't we divide these dishes equally? Although we won't be full, we won't starve to death, right? Yun Chujo said earnestly. Although everyone felt that it was a little suspicious, they couldn't find any fault with it at the moment. Shunzimo could only say, in that case, you can divide it equally. Okay. I am the person who is most willing to serve everyone. Come stand in a row. We will bring you food. There aren't many people like us who help others. Yun Chujo said with a smile. Everyone could only stand in a row and take out their cutlery to wait for Yun Chujo to bring them food. Shinzimo was the first in line. Yun Chujo handed her 2 steamed buns and then gave her half a bowl of stewed meat. Well, to be exact, there were only a few pieces of meat and the rest was soup. Shinzimo immediately said unhappily, You only gave me so little? Isn't that too little? Miss Shun, there's nothing we can do about it. You've seen it yourself. There's only so much stuff in total. We can't let you eat your fill alone while others starve, right? Yun Chujo said helplessly. The people at the back of the line immediately began to clamor. That's right. No one can be special. Leave immediately after you're done. We're still waiting to receive it. Shunzimo could only stand at the side, ready to see how much Yun Chujia's share was. After looking around, everyone received almost the same amount. In the end, there were still more than a dozen steamed buns left. Yun Chujo split the steamed buns into 2 and gave them to everyone. It seemed extremely fair. When everyone saw that Yun Chujia's group of 4 did not receive more than the others, and that they were busy for a while, the jealousy in their hearts dissipated a little. It seemed that the people of the Earth group were afraid that we would make things difficult for them, so they took the initiative to share the food. This was not bad. Although they were not full, they could make up for it with dry food. It was much better than beating their heads until they bled. However, Zhao Mama's eyes flashed. Although there was not much stew, there were more than 10 steamed buns missing. The 4 girls of the Earth group were really cunning. After lunch, Zhao Mama still let everyone continue to stand. 2 hours later, she released the golden-spotted nether snakes again. Although everyone was still very scared, after the lesson from the morning, they all closed their eyes and gritted their teeth. Yun Chujo was the only one who stood easily. The golden-spotted nether snakes were all avoiding her. Even though a few of them were chased away by Rui and climbed onto her shoes, they quickly gave up and crawled towards the others. Zhao Mama couldn't help but wonder, could it be that this Lin Chuchu had a poison that allowed the snakes to hide? Zhao Mama specially sent a message to the guard who was training the snakes to come over. She said to the guard, Why aren't these snakes approaching that Lin Chuchu? Why don't you ask him what's going on? The guard established a spiritual connection with a golden-spotted nether snake. Why don't you attack that little girl? The golden-spotted nether snake trembled slightly as it said, How should I put it? The way this little girl looks at me is similar to how I look at my prey. It seems like there's still saliva dripping from her mouth. I feel that if I don't leave now, she will swallow me alive. The guard established a spiritual connection with the other golden-spotted nether snakes and received the same answer. They all felt that the little girl was going to swallow them alive, so they all cowered. The guard was dumbfounded. What kind of joke was this? This Lin Chuchu isn't a demonic beast. How could he swallow you alive? After the guard told Zhao Mama the information he got, Zhao Mama was also dumbfounded. She didn't expect it to be for this reason. Could it be that she liked to eat snake meat very much? Zhao Mama recalled the matter of lunch distribution and came to a conclusion in her heart. This Lin Chuchu was a glutton. No one was deducted points for the afternoon training. Zhao Mama's expression became a little better. Not bad. You guys have improved, but tomorrow's training will be even more interesting. You guys wait and see. Dismissed. Everyone stood there for a whole day. Although they were cultivators, their backs were sore, and they couldn't wait to return to their rooms to rest. When the four of them returned to the dormitory, Zhou Han immediately went to Yun Chujia's side. Chujio, how much food did you hide? Yun Chujio gave Mo Wanwan a look. Mo Wanwan stood at the door to keep watch. Yun Chujio took out about 20 steamed buns and a pot of stewed meat from her storage ring. Zhou Han said in surprise, Chu, there were a lot of steamed buns, so they didn't notice that there was less. However, I didn't see that there was less stewed meat in the pot. How did you do it? Yun Chujio bared her little white teeth. After I took the meat out, I mixed a pot of hot water into it. Lu Qin and Zhou Han. Zhou Han slapped her thigh. Fuck. No wonder I felt that the stewed meat was a little light. You're tuning in to the Li Mei Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.